After the divorce, my identity as a divine doctor could no longer be hidden. 5 years ago, Jiang Yi, the so-called king of hell who controlled life and death, suddenly disappeared without a trace. No one knew that Jiang Yi had gotten married. After drifting for half his life, Jiang Yi thought he had finally found a safe haven in the small city of Jiangcheng. There, he secretly supported the fallen Yi family and the woman who was his white moonlight, Yanran. He helped her achieve great success at a young age, placing her at the top of her career. He had hoped for a peaceful life to continue, but unexpectedly, a divorce agreement from the Yi family coldly abandoned him. Just after Jiang Yi signed the divorce agreement, his phone, which had been silent for 5 years, suddenly rang. And with that ring, the world itself was shaken. Chapter 1: A Divorce Agreement. At a cafe in Jiangcheng. It was the plum rain season, and the rain outside pattered lightly. Jiang Yi, you should understand what President Yi means. Secretary Chen, dressed in formal attire and expressionless, gently pushed the divorce agreement in front of Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi's expression didn't change much. He merely lowered his head slightly and glanced at the divorce agreement. Is this your decision, or is it Yanran's? Do divorces no longer require the parties involved to appear in person? A hint of self-mockery flashed across Jiang Yi's eyes. Yanran, the woman he had devoted his life to. They had been together since university, spending many years together, filled with laughter and love. 5 whole years there were happy moments, sweet moments. But now, they had reached this point. Whose fault was it? Was it his fault for loving Yanran to the core, rejecting all flirtations, returning home on time every night, never socializing or playing games? Or was it Yanran's fault, the successful, rising career woman, the so-called ice goddess, who was practically invisible to him now? But now, talking about it seemed pointless. Secretary Chen's eyes flashed with a trace of disdain and mockery, as she spoke coldly, Jiang Yi, at this point, you should stop bothering President Yi. You were good once, but now, you're not enough. President Yi is someone you can no longer reach, and you're just a small-town doctor. She paused, then continued, hurry up and sign. Let me be blunt, you no longer deserve President Yi. She should spend the rest of her life with someone outstanding, not someone as ordinary as you. Jiang Yi's expression remained unchanged. He was unmoved, silent. Seeing his reaction, Secretary Chen furrowed her brow. President Yi has already shown you plenty of consideration. You should know, even if you don't sign, she has ways to get the divorce. So, Jiang Yi, don't drag this out and make both of you suffer. Let go now. Hearing Secretary Chen's words, Jiang Yi smiled. He laughed at how worthless his love was, at how his white moonlight had used him like a stepping stone. Only when useful, she remembered him; when useless, she discarded him. Secretary Chen looked at Jiang Yi's smile, her face turning slightly sour. What are you laughing at? Jiang Yi's smile slowly faded as he looked up at her. I'm laughing at this absurd love. At the beginning, I, Jiang Yi, chose Yanran decisively from among many others, dedicating myself to her. Yi's whole family was thrilled. Now, just a few years later, she has forgotten me completely. This is love. This is the Yi family. Jiang Yi couldn't stop the self-mockery in his eyes, and his words were laced with sarcasm. Finally, he ignored Secretary Chen's darkening face and said lightly, the matter between Yanran and me is none of your business. If she wants the divorce, she can come and talk to me in person. With that, Jiang Yi turned and walked out. Behind him, Secretary Chen's face was a picture of fury. No matter what, as President Yi's most trusted assistant, she was accustomed to seeing all sorts of things and carried herself with a certain ability. But now, to be told she didn't have the right to interfere by someone she looked down upon, it was infuriating. Just as Secretary Chen was about to explode, the door suddenly opened. A woman wearing sunglasses, her every gesture exuding nobility, entered the room. Seeing her, Secretary Chen immediately stood up and lowered her head. President Yi. It was Yanran. Jiang Yi stepped aside to give her room and said lightly, please, sit. Yanran nodded, then sat in Secretary Chen's seat. Jiang Yi, wearing a mocking smile, sat across from her without hesitation. Neither of them spoke. It was as if the atmosphere had frozen in time, cold and heavy. Finally, Jiang Yi pushed the divorce agreement towards Yanran and asked with a light laugh, do you want me to sign it? Yanran hadn't expected Jiang Yi to be so direct. For some reason, a trace of sadness flashed in her heart. But in the end, she nodded and whispered, "Sign it. We're no longer in the same world. You can ask for anything, and I will fulfill it if I can." Her words carried great sincerity. Perhaps anyone in the world would find it hard to refuse. But Jiang Yi only showed a faint smile as he looked at his familiar yet distant, white moonlight. "Has your life now all been priced, Yanran?" Yanran furrowed her brows at his words but remained silent. Secretary Chen immediately scolded, "Jiang Yi, don't go too far. President Yi has already shown the utmost sincerity. If it weren't for her soft heart, even..." "I'll speak, Xia." Yanran interrupted Secretary Chen. Secretary Chen shot a hateful look at Jiang Yi. Just a toad, thinking he could eat swan meat. How disgusting. "Jiang Yi, you..." Yanran took a deep breath, about to speak, but was immediately interrupted by Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi stood up, signed the paper, and smiled as he said, "I understand now. The words are signed, we part amicably. I won't appear in your life again. Let us pretend we never knew each other. Everything you have, I don't want. I've got the answer I needed, and that's enough." Jiang Yi turned around, covering the tears that fell from his eyes. He had just tried to find any trace of coercion in Yanran's eyes. But he failed. He saw only her seriousness and determination. So, Yanran had also thought that he was unworthy of her. It was laughable. Truly laughable. After laughing, Jiang Yi turned back and looked at Yanran, his lips curling slightly. 5 years can change so much, don't you think, Yanran? With that, Jiang Yi turned and left, his back straight and resolute. Only when Jiang Yi's figure disappeared did Yanran let out a long breath, her face showing a trace of melancholy. Secretary Chen, the one who knew Yanran the best, could see that she was truly a bit sad. After all, no matter how you looked at it, this had been part of her youth, part of her memories. When Jiang Yi signed the agreement, it marked the end of that youth. How could she not be touched? "President Yi, you did nothing wrong. The one at fault isn't you, it's Jiang Yi. If he had worked harder to catch up to you, to be in the same world as you, it wouldn't have turned out like this." Yanran smiled bitterly and stood up, looking out the window at the rain. "I know. It's just that I lost the person who loved me the most. President Yi, someone who loves you even more will come." Chapter 2, Master Jiang, are you free? "Mom, they are divorced. My sister and Jiang Yi are divorced. Just now, Jiang Yi has signed the papers. At the Yi family's villa." When the news of Jiang Yi and Yanran's divorce broke, smiles appeared on everyone's faces. Only Yi father remained calm and silent, his expression unchanged. But Yi mother's smile was wide and radiant, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from her heart. Yanran's younger brother, Yi Xiaofeng, who had spoken just now, walked over to Yi mother and continued. "Mom, although my sister is divorced, she is too soft-hearted. I heard that she not only gave Jiang Yi the car and the house, but also $1 million in cash." At these words, Yi mother's eyes widened in disbelief. "What? $1 million in cash? That's too much, even if it's compensation." Yi Xiaofeng quickly explained, "But you know how my sister is, once she decides something, she sticks to it. Although giving Jiang Yi compensation is understandable, after all, it was he who paid for my college tuition, I still think it's too much." Indeed, when Jiang Yi and Yi Yanran got married, the Yi family was just an ordinary family, not wealthy by any means. At the time, Jiang Yi's career was going well, and he had saved up some money, which he used to support the Yi family. This included paying for Yi Xiaofeng's college tuition. Even though Yi mother knew all of this, she still couldn't accept that they were giving Jiang Yi such compensation. "Old Yi, say something. Do you think Yanran gave too much? I admit that Jiang Yi helped us in the past, but don't forget, he has already been compensated. He received a house worth 800,000 from Yanran's parents, which should be more than enough. Since when did you forget our tough days, ho?" Yi father sighed and shook his head, before getting up and walking away. Clearly, he didn't want to get involved in the argument. Watching him leave, Yi mother's face twisted with anger. "Mom, Dad's getting old. Let him be. I think we should ask for the $1 million back, or at least the house. And my daughter-in-law has been eyeing a car lately, asking me for it." Yi Xiaofeng's voice rang out. Yi mother turned to point at him, scolding, "You, if only you were half as thoughtful as your sister. Anyway, that money is going back." The compensation was already too much. It was clear Yi mother had made up her mind. But then, she seemed to think of something and added, "Jiang Yi may seem all smiley, but he is actually very devious. If we go to ask for the money, I'm sure he won't give it to us. I remember your sister had a suitor named Liu Qianyu. Why don't you give him a call and ask him to help us out?" Yi Xiaofeng nodded eagerly. "You mean Qianyu, right? Mom, don't worry. This idea came from Qianyu. As long as you agree, we can go right now and ask Jiang Yi for the money. With Qianyu's help, I don't believe he'll refuse to give us anything." Yi mother, hearing this, didn't hesitate. She immediately put on her shoes and walked out. "Let us go. How can I let that man keep my daughter's money? At Haiyan Chenyuan, Jiangcheng's most prestigious villa community. Only those with status could afford a house here." Inside the villa, Jiang Yi sat on the sofa, looking around at the luxurious furnishings. Everything felt so familiar, yet strangely distant. He couldn't shake the feeling in his heart. This villa had witnessed the journey he and Yi Yanran took from nothing to something. It was a testament to their shared efforts. Although he had an inkling, he never expected that they would actually divorce. Especially after Yi Yanran's rise to success. He had done everything in his power to make her happy, to prevent such a thing from happening. But in the end, his love had only led him to this outcome. Sigh. Jiang Yi shook his head, looking at the cover of Women's Health magazine on the table. The icy, glamorous woman on the cover seemed to stare back at him. She had witnessed Yi Yanran's journey from nothing to everything. But who would be thought that the Yi Yanran, who once seemed out of his league, had now become the one he couldn't keep up with. Now, Yi Yanran had become one of Jiangcheng's top young entrepreneurs. She was not only capable but also stunningly beautiful, having long since become the goddess in the hearts of countless young men and rich heirs. Yeah, how could I, a small-town doctor, possibly be worthy of a self-made woman with a 10 billion yuan net worth, who is pursued by so many talented young men and wealthy heirs? Jiang Yi gave a self-deprecating smile and shook his head. Perhaps, to Yi Yanran, he had now become nothing but a stain on her life. With a sigh, he flipped the magazine over and stopped looking at it. Looking at the villa one last time, he stood up, preparing to pack up and leave. Just then, his phone rang. "Master Jiang, I'm not sure if you're free." Chapter 3, An Unwelcome Visitor. Jiang Yi didn't answer the phone. Instead, he hung up. But the phone kept ringing persistently. Jiang Yi turned it off. He didn't want to deal with this anymore. However, a trace of melancholy flashed in his eyes. Master Jiang. It had been so long since anyone had called him that. Even after 5 years of silence, someone still remembered him. This title felt so distant, like something from another life. Time, with all its power, had passed so swiftly. Yet, Jiang Yi couldn't help but shake his head. Everyone calls me Master Jiang with such respect, but the people closest to me treat me like an enemy, a thorn in their side. How absurd. After a moment, Jiang Yi stood up, his face calm. Perhaps no one would ever know that, right now, Jiang Yi had become someone the Yi family could never aspire to reach. And no one would know that, on the other side of the phone, a sense of despair was setting in. In Jiang Province, Leju City. The Chen family's South Grand Estate. The Chen family was famous throughout the province, known as the rulers of Jiang Province. But today, the skies were filled with dark clouds over the Chen family mansion. Father, is there really no one else who can save Grandpa? This Jiang Yi, he is truly ungrateful. Chen Kuan, the eldest son of the Chen family, was clearly losing his patience. Slap. No one expected that the head of the Chen family, Chen Changqian, would slap his son across the face, his face dark with anger. Chen Kuan, he shouted through gritted teeth, his voice cold and sharp. I don't care if you speak ill of me, but you never speak ill of Master Jiang. If word of this gets out, even 100 of your lives won't be enough to pay for it. Chen Kuan, who had always been doted on by his father, was stunned by the slap. He never imagined that his father would strike him over someone he had never even met. And for just a few words, no less. His rebellious streak flared up, but he lowered his head in silence. All the Chen family members in the room were staring at Chen Changqian. Chen Changqian fixed his gaze on his son and continued. I'm not going to explain all of this to you. Just remember one thing: even Sun Xinshou, the legendary doctor, calls Master Jiang his teacher. At these words, the room fell into stunned silence. Sun Xinshou. He was a name that was known throughout China, a terrifying figure in the medical world. His skill was so legendary that he could heal the dead and mend broken bones. And now, this person, this godlike figure, referred to Jiang Yi as his teacher. It was almost unthinkable. Chen Kuan's face went pale, drained of all color. The thought of offending someone of such stature sent a chill down his spine. What had he just said? He had uttered blasphemy, words that could bring disaster to the Chen family. In a panic, Chen Kuan quickly dropped to his knees, looking up at his father with pleading eyes. Father, I'm sorry. Chen Changqian, looking at his son whom he had high hopes for, gave a small nod. But after a moment, he sighed deeply and looked out the window. Kuan, I'll give you a chance. Master Jiang is in Jiang City now. You need to go there in person and apologize to him, then respectfully ask him to come back and save your grandfather. Chen Kuan nodded immediately, the urgency in his father's tone not lost on him. Go ahead. And remember, if you meet Master Jiang, you must not disrespect him. If you do, father, don't worry. I won't make the same mistake again. Chen Changqian nodded, waved his hand, and said no more. Chen Kuan stood up, ready to leave. Remember, your grandfather's life is in your hands. At these words, Chen Kuan felt the pressure weigh heavily on him. He couldn't help but feel an intense curiosity about Jiang Yi. In Jiang City, Haiyan Qianyuan. Liu Qianyu was driving, taking Yi Xiaofeng and Yi mother to this luxurious place. Qianyu, you're something else. Unlike that Jiang Yi, who's still just a small-time doctor after all this time. He's completely useless. How could he be worthy of my daughter Yanran? As soon as Yi mother got out of the car, she complimented Liu Qianyu with a smile. Liu Qianyu gave a faint smile, modestly replying. Not at all, Miss Yi. You're much more capable than I am. In front of you, I'm but a speck of dust. Meanwhile, Yi Xiaofeng was eagerly staring at the Haiyan Qianyuan villas, swallowing with anticipation. It wouldn't be long before this villa would be his. The thought made his excitement almost unbearable. Qianyu, Mom, we've arrived. This villa belongs to my sister. There's no way we're letting that useless Jiang Yi have it. Yi mother nodded, looking up at the villa. Liu Qianyu, however, secretly smirked. The Yi family was nothing more than a stepping stone to his rise. Once he had Yanran, within 3 years, he would turn the Yi family into his own. At that point, the Liu family and the Yi family would merge, and he would become the ruler of Jiang City. Maybe even challenge the Chen family. With that thought, Liu Qianyu's mood brightened. Everything was going according to plan. All right, let us go inside. This villa should belong to Xiaofeng, not that useless Jiang Yi. Yi Xiaofeng, pleased by Liu Qianyu's words, led the way to the front door. After all, in his mind, Liu Qianyu was someone who could do anything. With Liu Qianyu's help, this villa was practically his already. Meanwhile, Jiang Yi had finished packing his things and was sitting on the sofa, looking at the surroundings he and Yanran had carefully arranged. The joy of moving in together felt like it happened just yesterday. But today, everything felt cold and distant. He was about to leave this place. Leave behind the place full of sweet memories with Yanran. This place, the moment he signed the divorce papers, no longer belonged to him. Though Yanran had said the villa could stay with him, he didn't want it. Thinking about it, Jiang Yi recalled Yanran's firmness, her decisiveness, and her words, "We're from different worlds." Had he, Jiang Yi, been the one reaching too high all along? Though ordinary, Jiang Yi had loved Yanran with all his heart for 5 years. He had done everything for her, given her his whole heart without reservation. But what did he get in return? Yanran's rejection, her disdain. How laughable. How absurd. So, love was just a transaction after all. At that moment, the doorbell rang, interrupting his thoughts. Jiang Yi shook his head, frowned, and stood up to open the door. Standing there were 3 people. Mom, Xiaofeng, what are you doing here? Jiang Yi asked, his words coming out naturally after 5 years of habit. But your mother frowned, her eyes filled with disdain. Who's your mom? Don't speak carelessly. Yi Xiaofeng didn't even spare Jiang Yi a glance. He coldly said, "Hey, Jiang Yi, get it straight. This is my sister's house, she bought it. You've never paid a penny for it." His words were sharp, making Jiang Yi furrow his brow for a moment. He then turned his gaze to the well-dressed man standing beside them. Liu Qianyu. Chapter 4, You useless man, let go of Xiaofeng. Who are you? Jiang Yi tried to ask, but before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by Yi Xiaofeng. Jiang Yi, get out of my way. I'm taking Brother Qianyu to see my big house. Yi Xiaofeng shoved Jiang Yi aside and walked into the villa. Liu Qianyu looked down at Jiang Yi with a look of disdain and pity. After a quick glance, he followed Yi Mother and Yi Xiaofeng into the villa. Jiang Yi sighed and said nothing. Deep down, he still hoped to part ways with Yi Yanran amicably. After all, they had been married for so long, and he didn't want to make things awkward. With this in mind, Jiang Yi entered the house and, with practiced ease, took out some cups and poured water, placing them in front of the three people. Yi Xiaofeng, his eyes filled with excitement, looked around the villa. Soon, this place would be his. Liu Qianyu, after a few glances, turned his attention to Jiang Yi and raised an eyebrow. Jiang Yi, since you're divorced, let's part ways amicably. It's inappropriate for you to keep this villa. Jiang Yi furrowed his brows. He didn't even want the villa, so how was it inappropriate for him to keep it? I don't know who you are, but this is a family matter between me and the Yi family. You should keep your nose out of it. It's rather rude of you. Jiang Yi wasn't going to let Liu Qianyu talk down to him and immediately responded without holding back. Liu Qianyu's face changed slightly. He didn't expect Jiang Yi to have the audacity to speak back, especially since he considered him nothing but a useless man. Yi Mother raised an eyebrow when she heard this. Who told you this is a family matter? Jiang Yi, do you still have any shame? Yanran has already divorced you, and you no longer have any connection to our Yi family. Are you even a man? 5 years of eating soft rice wasn't enough for you, and you still want to keep living off us. I'm telling you, that divorce was a good thing, and I was the one who told Yanran to do it. You didn't deserve to be with my daughter in the first place. Marrying her was a mistake, do you understand? But you're still a useless man, 5 years of no progress, just living off your wife. Yi Mother's words left Jiang Yi stunned, but at the same time, a wave of anger surged in his chest. What did he say? Wasn't this villa a matter between him and the Yi family? An outsider was butting in, and for that, he was being insulted by his own mother-in-law? And now, they were bringing someone else to bully him? What was the meaning of this? He had signed the divorce papers. He didn't want a single cent of their wealth. But now, not only was he not appreciated, but he was being insulted. This was absurd. Had he been eating soft rice for 5 years? 5 years ago, if it weren't for Jiang Yi, how could the Yi family have developed? For 5 years, if Jiang Yi hadn't paved the way for Yi Yanran, how could she have risen to the top? Now they were burning the bridge after crossing the river and turning on him? It was laughable. Yi Xiaofeng spoke next, his tone full of disdain. Jiang Yi, my mom is right. What do you have to be proud of? 5 years of eating soft rice is already too much for my sister's tolerance. Otherwise, she would have divorced you long ago. Now, my sister has already given you enough. This villa? You don't deserve it, understand? Jiang Yi heard this and smiled, shaking his head. He stood up, and in a calm tone said, Since you're here to humiliate me, then please leave. I won't see you out. I'm no longer connected to the Yi family. He was trying to suppress his anger. He genuinely wanted to part ways with Yi Yanran on good terms and not make things unpleasant. He wanted to close this chapter of his life with a sense of closure. At this moment, Liu Qianyu spoke up. Jiang Yi, if anyone should leave, it's you. This villa was bought by Yi Yanran. It has nothing to do with you. This place belongs to the Yi family. Are you really trying to take the villa after living off us for 5 years? Liu Qianyu's words were like adding fuel to the fire. Jiang Yi's eyes flickered momentarily. Slap. In an instant, a crisp slap echoed through the room. Jiang Yi slowly withdrew his hand. This is a family matter between me and the Yi family. You have no business interfering, Jiang Yi said flatly. Jiang Yi. Are you crazy? You actually dare to slap brother Chen Yu? Yi Xiaofeng, seeing this, immediately exploded with rage. He leapt forward to attack Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi grabbed Yi Xiaofeng's wrist. His deep gaze was full of calm. I'm giving you face. When I don't, you're nothing but a dog. Do you understand? The sharp pain made Yi Xiaofeng's face turn pale, unable to say a word. He had never imagined Jiang Yi to have such strength. How was he so terrifying? Jiang Yi now understood. The reason this mother and son had come here was because they feared he might take the villa for himself. How laughable. How utterly laughable. What Jiang Yi had done for the Yi family far exceeded the value of this villa. But what did they do? They turned on him without a second thought. Jiang Yi never had the audacity to behave like this. Yi mother was in shock. She never expected that a man who had been rejected by Yi Yanran, a mere small-time doctor, would dare treat them this way. Jiang Yi, you useless man. Let go of Xiaofeng. Before Yi mother could finish speaking, a furious shout came from Liu Chenyu. Jiang Yi, you're asking for it. Liu Chenyu, clutching his swollen face, looked like a monster as he shouted at Jiang Yi. But Jiang Yi, with a cold smile, casually tossed Yi Xiaofeng aside like trash and, facing Liu Chenyu, said indifferently, "And who are you?" His deep eyes locked onto Liu Chenyu. In that instant, Liu Chenyu felt as if Jiang Yi had transformed into a terrifying tyrant. At that moment, Liu Chenyu was stunned and dared not speak a word. Jiang Yi. Yi mother didn't know what else to say and just glared at Jiang Yi in rage. Jiang Yi, however, remained calm. He took out his phone and spoke in a cool voice. Since you want the villa back, no problem. I'll call Yanran now and hear her opinion. As long as she agrees, I'll walk away from everything. You can rest assured, these things aren't worth a thing to me. Yi mother and Yi Xiaofeng, now realizing what Jiang Yi was about to do, were stunned. Yi mother immediately stepped forward and snatched the phone out of Jiang Yi's hand. Jiang Yi smiled, his expression one of amusement. As expected, the Yi family mother and son only wanted the villa and had never even bothered to consult with Yi Yanran. And Jiang Yi, knowing Yi Yanran, was certain she wouldn't do such a disgusting thing. After all, Yi Yanran was now a woman of status. Money was no longer an issue for her. Such trivial things probably didn't even matter to her, especially since she was only interested in completely cutting ties with him. Liu Chenyu, seeing his plan go awry, was now furious. He hadn't expected to be so frightened by a so-called useless man. Enraged, he charged at Jiang Yi, throwing a punch. Chapter 5. Sooner or later, you will die in my hands. Jiang Yi showed disdain on his face. Liu Chenyu's skills were no match for Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi easily dodged Liu Chenyu's fist and raised his hand to punch Liu Chenyu in the face. Crack! A sound of bones breaking came. Liu Chenyu's nose was broken. For a moment, blood flew all over his nose. Before Liu Chenyu recovered, Jiang Yi kicked him again and kicked him out. Liu Chenyu's body fell heavily on the coffee table, and the glass shattered all over the floor. Liu Chenyu wailed in pain. The sound sounded like a pig being slaughtered. Jiang Yi was particularly cruel and did not hold back at all. Jiang Yi would not be soft-hearted when dealing with people like Liu Chenyu. Yi's mother and Yi Xiaofeng were frightened by Jiang Yi and stepped back several steps involuntarily. Thinking, is this still Jiang Yi? Jiang Yi used to be cowardly and timid, and he would never hit anyone. Yi's mother and Yi Xiaofeng felt that Jiang Yi had completely changed. It's not that Jiang Yi had changed, he had always had the strength. He used to tolerate everything because he didn't want to cause any trouble and just wanted to live a good life with Yi Yanran. Now, Jiang Yi feels that everything doesn't matter. You asked for it. Jiang Yi looked at Liu Chenyu, get out of my sight now, don't let me see you again. The next time I see you, it won't be as simple as beating you up. After beating Liu Chenyu, Jiang Yi felt very comfortable. To put it bluntly, Liu Chenyu is a meat target. A fool who took the initiative to let Jiang Yi be the object of venting. Liu Chenyu has stopped wailing now and has recovered a little. Liu Chenyu couldn't swallow the breath of Jiang Yi's beating. Usually, he beats others. This is the first time he has been beaten so badly since he was a child. Before coming, Liu Chenyu was still pretending in front of Yi's mother and Yi Xiaofeng, saying that he would definitely be able to take down Jiang Yi and make Jiang Yi hand over the villa. He wanted to take this opportunity to show off in front of Yi's mother. In the end, he was beaten up by Jiang Yi and lost face. Jiang Yi, you wait, sooner or later you will die in my hands. Liu Qianyu stared at Jiang Yi fiercely and made a harsh remark. In fact, he saw that he could not beat Jiang Yi, so he could only save some face by making a harsh remark. What's so great about being able to fight? I am the young master of the Liu family. I want to kill you, just like playing. You wash your neck and wait. I want you to know who to offend and who not to offend. Liu Qianyu showed murderous intent. Liu Qianyu already had a plan in his mind, and he could definitely beat Jiang Yi, but it was not possible now. After Liu Qianyu made a harsh remark, he ran away, fearing that Jiang Yi would catch up and beat him up again. Xiaofeng, let's go too. Yi's mother shouted, pulling Yi Xiaofeng out. What about the villa? Yi Xiaofeng was very unwilling, he wanted this villa. Don't worry, Jiang Yi, this rubbish has completely offended young Master Liu. When young Master Liu kills Jiang Yi, this villa will naturally be ours. Yi's mother sneered. Hearing this, Yi Xiaofeng breathed a sigh of relief and became happy. Soon, Yi Xiaofeng frowned again. What if young Master Liu can't kill Jiang Yi? Young Master Liu is the young master of the Liu family, Jiang Yi is nothing, and it's like playing for young Master Liu to kill Jiang Yi. Yi's mother said gloatingly, she was very confident in young Master Liu. That's right, young Master Liu is powerful and powerful, it's still easy to deal with a rubbish. Then, Yi's mother took Yi Xiaofeng and swaggered out of the villa. Jiang Yi raised the corner of his mouth. If Liu Qianyu wants to die, he will fulfill his wish. Ding ding. The doorbell of the villa rang. Jiang Yi opened the door and saw more than a dozen luxury cars worth tens of millions parked at the door. There were also a group of bodyguards wearing suits and sunglasses standing on both sides, with a very grand scene. The leader was a rich young man. This rich young man was none other than Chen Kuan, the young master of the Chen family. He took a special flight and arrived in Jiangcheng quickly. As soon as he landed, he rushed over non-stop. Who are you looking for? Jiang Yi asked. Excuse me, are you Master Jiang? Chen Kuan put down his rich young master's airs and asked with a smile on his face. Jiang Yi paused when he heard this. No one has called him that for many years. I am the person you are looking for. I don't like nonsense. If you have something to say, please speak quickly. Jiang Yi said impatiently. Chen Kuan was stunned. Like a sculpture. Chen Kuan felt that the rumored Master Jiang must be an old man with a childlike face and white hair. I never thought that he was almost the same age as me. No matter how you look at him, he doesn't look like a great doctor. At this time, in the ward of the first affiliated hospital of Jiangcheng, Yi Xiaofeng was feeding Liu Qianyu porridge. Liu Qianyu's face was full of painful expressions, and he wailed twice every few minutes. Liu Qianyu was pretending, he only had superficial injuries. He deliberately came to the hospital and asked Yi Xiaofeng to take care of him in order to attract Yanran's attention. Ouch, it hurts so much. After Liu Qianyu screamed twice, he asked Yi Xiaofeng, when will your sister come? I have called, and my sister will come to see you soon. Yi Xiaofeng said. As soon as their voice fell, Yi Yanran came. Yi Yanran was wearing a professional suit, her curvy figure was perfectly highlighted, and her beautiful appearance almost made Liu Qianyu bleed from the nose. After a long time, Liu Qianyu reluctantly withdrew his gaze. Yanran, you should have divorced Jiang Yi, that bastard, a long time ago. He is simply a lunatic who beats anyone he sees. Liu Qianyu deliberately exaggerated. I know Jiang Yi, he won't beat anyone. Yi Yanran said. Everything I said is true. Liu Qianyu continued, if you don't believe me, you can ask your sister, she was there at the time. Hearing this, Yi Yanran looked at Yi Xiaofeng. Xiaofeng, is this true? Don't lie to me. It's true, Jiang Yi is a sadist, you don't know him at all, his previous honest appearance was all pretended, the purpose was to confuse you. Yi Xiaofeng said angrily. Yi Yanran frowned. Sister, I swear, everything I said is true, Jiang Yi felt that he had divorced you, there was no need to pretend, so he showed his true colors. Yi Xiaofeng said with exaggeration. Yi Yanran didn't say anything. She chose to believe Jiang Yi. I'll call Jiang Yi and ask him. Yi Yanran took out her cell phone and called Jiang Yi. Soon, the call was connected. Jiang Yi, I want to ask you, did you hurt Liu Qianyu? I want to hear the truth. Yanran asked. I did. Jiang Yi's calm voice came from the other end of the phone. Yi Xiaofeng, who was standing by, saw that Jiang Yi had admitted it, and said to Yanran, Sister, Jiang Yi has already admitted it. I don't need to tell you who he is. Chapter 6 Transaction. Yanran was very angry. Why did you hit someone? Yanran continued to question. Go ask your brother and the guy named Liu. I have something to do. I'll hang up first. Jiang Yi on the other end of the phone said and hung up directly. This was the first time Jiang Yi took the initiative to hang up the phone. Yanran felt a little disappointed. Why did Jiang Yi do it? Yanran looked at Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiaofeng. Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiaofeng began to panic. It was their fault. It was their fault. Yanran gave the villa to Jiang Yi, and they went to Jiang Yi and forced him to hand over the villa. Once Yanran knew about this, she would be very angry. Liu Qianyu couldn't make up any reason at once, so he found one and said to Yanran, I went to the villa community to deal with something. Who knew that Jiang Yi suddenly appeared and attacked me directly? Yes, that's what happened. Yi Xiaofeng hurriedly responded. In the eyes of Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiaofeng, Yanran must be deceived. Yanran, Jiang Yi is not a good thing at all. Don't worry, when my injury is healed, I will make him disappear from Jiangcheng completely. Liu Qianyu said to Yanran with tenderness on his face. Sister, look how good Master Liu is to you. I think you will be very happy together. Yi Xiaofeng also said. Liu Qianyu looked at Yanran expectantly. He was waiting for Yanran to nod. Liu Qianyu felt that this would definitely work. As a result, Liu Qianyu miscalculated. You really think I'm a fool? Yanran asked angrily, Master Liu, I ask you, since you are going to the villa community to do business, why is my brother with you? Liu Qianyu was speechless. Xiaofeng, what are you doing in the villa community again? Yanran looked at Yi Xiaofeng. Yi Xiaofeng was asked so many questions that he couldn't say a word. Yanran can easily manage such a large company, and her ability is not comparable to that of ordinary people. How can Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiaofeng deceive her casually? Originally, Yanran believed it. Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiaofeng exaggerated it, but revealed flaws. You don't say it, let me say it. Yanran said, Xiaofeng, you saw that I gave the villa to Jiang Yi, so you went to Master Liu to ask Jiang Yi for the villa. Master Liu relied on his status as the master of the Liu family to attack Jiang Yi, but was beaten up by Jiang Yi instead. Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiaofeng had nothing to say. Master Liu, this is my family affair, what qualifications do you have to participate? Yanran said angrily. Yanran, don't be angry, I just want to help you. Liu Qianyu explained hurriedly. Liu Qianyu never thought that the plan that he thought was perfect would turn out like this. It's just shooting himself in the foot. Master Liu, I don't need anyone's help. Don't interfere in our family affairs in the future. After Yanran finished speaking, she looked at Yi Xiaofeng again, and you, I'm your biological sister, you even lied to me, you disappoint me. Yi Xiaofeng was so scared that he didn't dare to speak. You guys take care of yourself. Yanran said and left. Liu Qianyu gritted his teeth in anger. He knew very well that Yanran had begun to hate him. I must kill Jiang Yi, the bastard, with my own hands. He has already divorced Yanran, but he is still haunting me. Liu Qianyu's face was full of murderous and angry. Yi Xiaofeng was frightened by Liu Qianyu's appearance. He left Liu Qianyu alone and hurriedly left the ward. At this time, in the hall of the villa, Jiang Yi sat leisurely on the sofa. And Chen Kuan stood in front of Jiang Yi with a respectful face, his eyes full of flattery. Don't stand, sit. Jiang Yi looked at Chen Kuan. Thank you. Chen Kuan responded, and then sat down on the sofa. If the Yi family saw this scene, they would be shocked. Chen Kuan was the young master of the Chen family, the overlord of the business world in Jiang province. At this time, he was like a docile sheep, respectful in front of Jiang Yi. Actually, Chen Kuan had doubts about Jiang Yi's ability. In order to cure his grandfather, he could only take a gamble. Master Jiang, my grandfather's condition has been getting worse. I can't delay it any longer. Please come with me. Chen Kuan said sincerely. Jiang Yi already knew about Mr. Chen's condition. This disease was only a minor disease in front of him. It's easy to cure this disease. I have rules for curing diseases. Jiang Yi asked. This made Chen Kuan a little confused. My rules are very simple. Before curing a disease, the other party must pay a certain amount of compensation. Jiang Yi took a sip of tea and said, Master Jiang, this is simple. After Chen Kuan finished speaking, he took out a card from his pocket and handed it to Jiang Yi respectfully, saying, This is a VIP card of Jiang Province Bank. There are 20 million in it. I have prepared it before coming. Jiang Yi did not take the card. Mr. Jiang, if you think it's too little, you can ask for anything. As long as you can save my grandfather, our Chen family is willing to pay any price. Chen Kuan thought Jiang Yi thought the money was too little. I don't need money. Your Chen family will do something for me. Jiang Yi looked at Chen Kuan. Master Jiang, just say it. As long as our Chen family can do it, we will definitely do our best. Chen Kuan said hurriedly. Help me create a powerful force in the Jiangcheng business community. Jiang Yi said. No problem. Chen Kuan agreed directly. This matter is easy for the powerful Chen family. Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows. This transaction is mutually beneficial for both parties, and no one will suffer. Master Jiang, when are we going to Leju City? Chen Kuan asked. Let's go now. After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he stood up and walked out the door. Chen Kuan hurriedly followed. The huge convoy began to set off for Leju City. Leju City is very close to Jiangcheng City and can be reached in 3 hours. However, Yanran, after returning to the company, called a meeting of all the company leaders. The purpose of this meeting was for a project of the company. This project is the largest project since the company was founded. Once the project is successful, it will bring countless benefits to the company. First, once the project is successful, the company can earn hundreds of millions. Second, this project can increase the company's visibility and expand the sales market. But if it fails, the company will also face a very big blow, and even the risk of bankruptcy. In short, Yanran attaches great importance to this project. The meeting room was noisy. When Yanran walked into the meeting room, everyone quieted down. The purpose of calling everyone to the meeting today is for the project. The project needs to find a strong company to cooperate in order to succeed. You all tell me, which company is the most suitable? Yanran went straight to the point. Mr. Yi, looking at Jiangcheng, the most suitable is only Liu Group. The planning manager said. Other leaders also said that Liu Group is the best choice. Yanran didn't say anything. Boss Yi, there are many powerful companies in Jiangcheng, but none of them are willing to cooperate with a small company like us. Only the Liu Group has extended an olive branch to our company. Besides, everyone knows that Liu Qianyu, the young master of the Liu family, is pursuing you, Boss Yi. This is the best opportunity for the company. The planning manager continued. Other leaders also proposed the same idea. Chapter 7. You were deceived by this guy. Yanran felt helpless. She knew what Liu Qianyu was thinking, and she also knew that Liu Qianyu was not a good person. But for the company, Yanran had to make a choice. You must keep a close eye on the project. I will handle the matter of finding a cooperative company. The meeting is adjourned. Yanran said, and left the meeting room. After returning to the office and thinking for a long time, Yanran finally had to choose Liu Group. After leaving the company, Yanran drove back to their hospital. Liu Qianyu was worried that he would never have a chance to get close to Yanran again. Unexpectedly, Yanran suddenly came back, which made Liu Qianyu very happy. I bought you some food. Yanran put the lunchbox on the table next to the bed and smiled at Liu Qianyu. This smile was forced out by Yanran. Yanran hated Liu Qianyu, but for the company, she could only force a smile. Yanran, thank you. Liu Qianyu looked at Yanran tenderly and said, if I can eat the food you personally deliver every day in the future, my injury will definitely heal faster. Seeing Liu Qianyu staring at her with such eyes, Yanran felt uncomfortable. I will deliver food to you every day when I have time in the future. Yanran forced a smile on her face. Hearing this, Liu Qianyu was a little flattered. This was the first time that Yanran was so nice to him. Liu Qianyu would probably wake up laughing in his dreams. Yanran, I heard that your company is looking for a big company to cooperate with. Have you been worrying about this? Liu Qianyu suddenly asked. Can you help me? Yanran asked. Yes, of course. Liu Qianyu said hurriedly, our Liu group is very powerful, and this kind of trivial matter is not worth mentioning at all. Yanran was secretly happy in her heart, but did not show it on her face. Then I'll come to see you tomorrow. Have a good rest. Yanran smiled at Liu Qianyu and left the ward. After leaving the ward, the smile on Yanran's face disappeared immediately. In the ward, Liu Qianyu was full of pride. Yanran, you will fall into my hands soon. I will make you my woman, and your company will also become my company. Then, Liu Qianyu took out his mobile phone and called his subordinates, asking them to keep an eye on Jiang Yi. Liu Qianyu planned to wait for an opportunity to retaliate against Jiang Yi. At this time, Jiang Yi had already arrived in Leju City. Leju City is the capital of Jiang Province, and it is also the economic and cultural exchange center of Jiang Province. It is the most developed and prosperous city in Jiang Province. After entering the city, Chen Kuan did not dare to be negligent and took Jiang Yi straight to the Chen family. The head of the Chen family had received a call from Chen Kuan a few hours ago. After learning that Chen Kuan had invited Jiang Yi, he was overjoyed and waited at the gate of the villa half an hour in advance. Along with the head of the Chen family, some members of the Chen family were waiting for Jiang Yi. These members of the Chen family were full of curiosity about Jiang Yi, a big shot, and wanted to see his true face with their own eyes. Listen to me, you must be respectful to Master Jiang, and you can't be disrespectful in the slightest. The head of the Chen family glanced at the Chen family members and said with a serious expression, this Master Chen is not an ordinary person. The Chen family members nodded hurriedly. The head of the Chen family was still a little worried about Jiang Yi. He was afraid that something unexpected would happen. Not only would the old man's illness not be cured, but it would bring disaster to the Chen family. Jiang Yi's thundering wrath was definitely not something the Chen family could bear. Here it comes. Someone shouted. As soon as their voice fell, the motorcade drove towards the gate of the villa and stopped at the door of the villa. The head of the Chen family hurried to the side of the car and stood respectfully aside. The Chen family members also hurriedly followed, standing in 2 rows, waiting for Jiang Yi to get off the car. After the car door opened, Jiang Yi got out of the car. What a big lineup! Jiang Yi glanced around and raised his eyebrows. When the people at the door saw Jiang Yi's true face, they all froze in place. Everyone was stunned, looking like a wooden sculpture. At the same time, everyone's face was full of endless doubts. Like Chen Kuan, they all thought that the rumored Master Jiang was an old man with a childlike face and white hair. As a result, they never expected that the Master Jiang, who was rumored to exist like a god, was actually just a young boy. Jiang Yi rarely shows up. Few people have seen Jiang Yi's true face. It's not surprising that these people question Jiang Yi. The Chen family members frowned one by one. If the head of the Chen family hadn't warned them before, they would have driven Jiang Yi away long ago. Master Jiang, you are finally here. The head of the Chen family hurried over with a respectful face. In order to show respect for Jiang Yi, he directly called Jiang Yi you. Master Jiang, I have invited the best chef in Jiang province to prepare a banquet for you to welcome you. Please come. The head of the Chen family was full of enthusiasm. I am here to treat my illness, not to eat. Take me to see Mr. Chen. Jiang Yi said. Yes. The head of the Chen family responded quickly, and then took Jiang Yi to the hall of the villa. After arriving at the ward, Jiang Yi looked at the bed. I saw an old man in his 70s lying on the bed with tubes inserted all over his body. In the ward, there was a group of people standing. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing glasses. Let me introduce you. These people are the top medical team in the country. Thanks to them, the old man's condition can be stabilized. After the head of the Chen family introduced the group of people, he began to introduce the middle-aged man. This is Dr. Ma, the head of the medical team, who is a leader in the medical field. Hello. Jiang Yi greeted politely. Dr. Ma snorted, with a cold face. Mr. Chen, we are giving chemotherapy to Mr. Chen now. We cannot be disturbed by strangers. You should let him go out. So as not to affect us. Dr. Ma said lightly. He is not an idler. He is Master Jiang. Only he can cure the old man's disease, said the head of the Chen family. After saying this, Dr. Ma and the entire medical team laughed, full of disdain and ridicule. After a long time, Dr. Ma stopped. Mr. Chen, you are a smart man, but you can be deceived. Dr. Ma laughed. What do you mean by this? The head of the Chen family was a little puzzled. I mean, you were fooled by this kid. Dr. Ma sneered, this kid is only 24 or 25 years old. He probably doesn't even know the most basic medical knowledge. To put it bluntly, he is just a liar. After that, Dr. Ma continued, we are the top medical team in the country. Even we are helpless against Mr. Chen's illness. We can only find ways to suppress the disease. How can he, a young boy, have such great ability? The head of the Chen family laughed directly. It's a joke that these guys are blind. The head of the Chen family knows how capable Jiang Yi is, otherwise he wouldn't have spent so much effort to invite Jiang Yi. Chapter 8 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle. Boy, you are so arrogant. Which medical school did you graduate from? Dr. Ma questioned Jiang Yi. I haven't been to any medical school. Jiang Yi said lightly. These guys who look down on others make Jiang Yi very unhappy. When they heard that Jiang Yi had never been to a medical school, Dr. Ma and the others burst into laughter. They thought Jiang Yi was a clown. Shut your stinky mouth. I'm going to save people. Don't bother me here. Jiang Yi didn't give them any face. Dr. Ma's lips were twitching with anger. The others were also very angry. Soon, Dr. Ma showed a gloomy sneer on his face. He didn't argue with Jiang Yi, but stood aside to watch the show. He knew the Chen family's methods. If Jiang Yi couldn't cure Mr. Chen, the Chen family would not let Jiang Yi go. Huh. Jiang Yi took a deep breath. Then, Jiang Yi took out the silver needle and pierced Mr. Chen's acupuncture points at a very fast speed. Dr. Ma and the medical team's faces changed immediately. 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle, how is this possible? This kid actually knows 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle, this is impossible. 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle is the most terrifying acupuncture method in the field of traditional Chinese medicine, and this kid is so skilled in using it. Everyone's face was filled with surprise. The head of the Chen family saw that the entire medical team was surprised, and couldn't help asking Dr. Ma, what is the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle? After hearing the voice of the head of the Chen family, Dr. Ma came to his senses and said, 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle is one of the top 10 acupuncture methods in the medical field. There are 3 reasons why the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle is amazing. First, the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle is extremely difficult to learn. Unless you have an amazing medical talent, you can't learn it at all. Second, the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle has been lost for hundreds of years and is only recorded in medical history books. Third, the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle can bring the dead back to life, and can also kill people invisibly. People who have learned the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle can kill dozens of people at a time just by moving their fingers. After hearing this, the head of the Chen family was also stunned. His technique is so skillful, he must have learned the essence of the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle. Dr. Ma took a deep breath and said self-deprecatingly, you can't judge a person by his appearance. We laughed at him just now. We are the real joke. Other doctors also sighed. Their attitude towards Jiang Yi changed 180 degrees. Just now they laughed at Jiang Yi, but now they looked at Jiang Yi with surprise and respect. Puff. A mouthful of black blood spit out from the old man's mouth. Everyone looked over and saw that the black blood smelled bad. Seeing Jiang Yi retract the silver needle, Dr. Ma immediately took the medical team to check on Mr. Chen's condition. After the examination, the entire medical team was shocked on the spot. It's really worthy of the 9 Heaven's Mysterious Needle. Mr. Chen's health has begun to improve. Dr. Ma sighed. Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows. This guy is quite knowledgeable. Master Jiang, we were blind just now. I hope Master Jiang will forgive us. Dr. Ma apologized to Jiang Yi with a respectful face. Jiang Yi ignored Dr. Ma. To learn medicine, you must first learn how to be a human being. As the saying goes, a doctor is kind-hearted. This guy even knows the most basic way to be a human being. Jiang Yi doesn't want to pay attention to such a person. Dr. Ma was turned away, but he was not angry. He thought that people with great abilities are naturally arrogant. This is not surprising. Thank you, Master Jiang, for saving the old man's life. Your great kindness will be remembered in our Chen family. The head of the Chen family was grateful when he saw that the condition of the old man Chen had improved. Don't be in a hurry to thank me. Jiang Yi frowned and said, Mr. Chen's illness has been delayed for too long. If you want to cure it completely, you have to continue to treat it for a while. But don't worry, I will definitely save Mr. Chen with me. Then I'll have to trouble Master Jiang. The head of the Chen family said hurriedly. Go prepare some medicinal materials. Jiang Yi finished speaking and read out the names of the medicinal materials. The head of the Chen family hurriedly took a pen and paper to write it down, and sent someone to buy it. Then, the head of the Chen family invited Jiang Yi downstairs and personally poured tea for Jiang Yi. After pouring the tea, he stood aside respectfully. Why are you like your son? I am so scary that you don't even dare to sit down. Jiang Yi smiled and looked at the head of the Chen family. Hearing this, the head of the Chen family sat down. Before the head of the Chen family sat down, Chen Kuan ran in from outside and said to the head of the Chen family, Dad, there is something in the company, I'm afraid you have to deal with it yourself. Asshole. The head of the Chen family was so angry that he kicked Chen Kuan directly. Didn't you see I was accompanying Master Jiang? You can't handle such a trivial matter, what's the point of me raising you, it really makes me angry. Chen Kuan looked helpless. Finally, Chen Kuan still plucked up the courage and said to the head of the Chen family, Dad, this matter is related to the Yi family. That Yi family? The head of the Chen family asked angrily. Jiangcheng Yi family. Chen Kuan said, Master Jiang is the son-in-law of the Yi family. I am worried that if I don't handle this matter well, I will offend Master Jiang. I can only come to you. When a head of the Chen family heard that this matter was related to Jiang Yi, he hurriedly asked, Hurry up and tell me, what's going on? Chen Kuan hurriedly told the story. It turned out that Liu Chenyu's Liu group was controlled by the Chen family, so the Liu family had to get the Chen family's consent for this matter. The Liu family did not have the courage to make the decision on their own. Master Jiang's affairs are our Chen family's affairs. You go and handle this matter yourself. The head of the Chen family said sternly. Yes. Chen Kuan hurriedly responded. Wait. Jiang Yi stopped Chen Kuan and said, Please go to Jiangcheng and figure out everything. Chen Kuan didn't understand what Jiang Yi was going to do, and looked at the head of the Chen family. What are you still doing? Do whatever Master Jiang tells you to do. The head of the Chen family scolded angrily. Chen Kuan hurriedly turned around and left, leaving for Jiangcheng. Gurgle. Jiang Yi's stomach suddenly growled. Jiang Yi had not eaten anything since he rushed from Jiangcheng to Chen's house, and was now hungry. The head of the Chen family did not dare to neglect him, and asked the chef to prepare food and personally accompanied Jiang Yi for dinner. After eating and drinking, he prepared a room for Jiang Yi and arranged a dozen handsome servants for Jiang Yi to guard the door of Jiang Yi's room for Jiang Yi to order. Jiang Yi was indeed tired and slept until the next day. As soon as Jiang Yi got up, the head of the Chen family immediately ordered the chef to prepare wine and food. Being surrounded by so many people, Jiang Yi could not stand it, and sent everyone out of the restaurant, including the head of the Chen family. As soon as the head of the Chen family arrived at the lobby of the villa, Chen Kuan came back. Dad, where is Master Jiang? Chen Kuan asked. Master Jiang is having dinner, don't disturb Master Jiang now, go later. The head of the Chen family said. Chen Kuan nodded and sat on the sofa with a tired look on his face. Have you investigated the matter clearly? Asked the head of the Chen family. Chapter 9 I'll give you a slap in the face. It's all clear. Liu Chenyu, the young master of the Liu family, fell in love with the eldest daughter of the Yi family. The Liu family agreed to cooperate with the Yi family. I also found out another thing. Chen Kuan said mysteriously. What is it? The head of the Chen family continued to ask. Master Jiang and the eldest daughter of the Yi family, Yi Yanran, just divorced 2 days ago. Chen Kuan said. Hearing this, the head of the Chen family fell into deep thought. Dad, I have agreed to the cooperation between the Liu family and the Yi family. In addition, I also asked the Liu family to invest a large amount of money in Miss Yi's company. After Chen Kuan finished speaking, he asked for a reward with a proud face. Dad, I did a good job on this matter, you have to reward me well. Just when Chen Kuan was waiting for the head of the Chen family to praise him, the head of the Chen family slapped him directly. Par. This slap hit Chen Kuan's face hard. Chen Kuan was stunned. Dad, I asked you to reward me, why did you hit me? Chen Kuan looked innocent. I'll give you a slap in the face. The head of the Chen family was so angry that he kicked Chen Kuan again. You are a person who can't do anything but always makes trouble. Can't you grow a little brain? Chen Kuan was still confused. You have investigated everything clearly, but you still do such a stupid thing. After the head of the Chen family finished speaking, he continued, Yi Yanran is Master Jiang's woman. Liu Qianyu wants to use this opportunity to become the son-in-law of the Yi family. Liu Qianyu is Master Jiang's rival in love. If you do this, you will help Liu Qianyu and will completely offend Master Jiang. What should I do? Whatever I do is wrong. Chen Kuan looked helpless. Tell the Liu family immediately that the cooperation and investment will be put aside for the time being. The head of the Chen family took a deep breath. Chen Kuan nodded. Why did I give birth to such a stupid son like you? I am almost mad at you to death. The head of the Chen family was so angry. Chen Kuan was scolded and dared not speak. There is something I forgot to ask you. How did you convince Master Jiang to save the old man? The head of the Chen family looked at Chen Kuan. Chen Kuan did not dare to hide anything and told him everything that happened. After listening, the head of the Chen family took a deep breath. You have done a decent thing. The head of the Chen family said, this matter is of great benefit to our Chen family. First, the old man's illness can be cured. Second, our Chen family has more opportunities to make friends with Master Jiang. Making friends with such a big man is of great benefit to our Chen family. After speaking, the head of the Chen family looked at Chen Kuan with a serious expression. You should hurry up and do this matter. Remember not to make any mistakes. Yes. Chen Kuan responded hurriedly. Master Jiang is almost done with his meal. You go, said the head of the Chen family. Chen Kuan nodded and stood up and walked towards the restaurant. After entering the restaurant, Chen Kuan hurriedly greeted Jiang Yi respectfully. How is the investigation going? Jiang Yi asked. I have investigated everything. Miss Yi's company is indeed facing a big problem. Miss Yi often goes to the hospital to visit Liu Qianyu, the young master of the Liu family, hoping to cooperate with the Liu group. Chen Kuan stopped talking halfway and did not dare to continue. Go on, I won't be angry. Jiang Yi said. In order to pursue Miss Yi, Liu Qianyu is trying his best to help Miss Yi. I heard that Miss Yi's mother promised that if Liu Qianyu can help Miss Yi solve this matter, she will agree to let Liu Qianyu be her son-in-law. Chen Kuan said cautiously. Jiang Yi couldn't help but sneer in his heart when he heard this. My mother-in-law really has some tricks. She gave Liu Qianyu such a big sweet. Liu Qianyu will definitely try his best to promote this cooperation. Liu Qianyu is not a good thing, one day their Yi family will regret it. Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows. Master Jiang, Liu Qianyu is so bold that he dares to snatch your woman, otherwise I will destroy him. A hint of murderous intent flashed in Chen Kuan's eyes. Yi Yanran is no longer my woman. Jiang Yi took a deep breath. I am an outsider now. I will not participate in the affairs of the Yi family and the Liu family. Let's stop here. Chen Kuan nodded. Chen Kuan is good at observing words and expressions. He can see that Jiang Yi doesn't care, but he still can't let it go. No matter what Chen Kuan does, this matter may offend Jiang Yi. Finally, Chen Kuan made up his mind that he could not act rashly without Jiang Yi's permission. The best choice is to wait and see. After leaving the restaurant, Chen Kuan immediately called the Liu family. At this time, in the ward of the first affiliated hospital of Jiangcheng, Liu Qianyu was looking at Yi Yanran with a gentle face. Yi Yanran seemed absent, but still forced a smile on her face. Master Liu, thanks to your help this time, my company can cooperate with Liu Group. Yanran, it's already this time, don't be polite to me. Liu Qianyu looked at Yi Yanran with lustful eyes. Auntie came to see me last night. She promised me that after the company's affairs were over, she would let you marry me, and we would be a family in the future. This made Yi Yanran frown. Mother Yi took the initiative, which made her very angry. Yi Yanran only knew about this now. Yi Yanran hated Liu Qianyu very much, so naturally she didn't want to marry him. She was thinking about how to solve the company's affairs and get out of it. Yanran, don't call me Master Liu anymore in the future. Call me Qianyu. It sounds more intimate. Liu Qianyu looked at Yanran gently, and his hand went to Yanran's waist. Master Liu, please respect yourself. Yanran dodged quickly. Liu Qianyu sneered in his heart, thinking, it's already this time, and you're still playing this game with me. Wait until you become my woman, and see how you pretend to be reserved. In Liu Qianyu's heart, Yanran can't escape from his palm. Yanran, in the whole Jiangcheng, only I am worthy of you, you should know my ability. Liu Qianyu said proudly. Yanran didn't say anything. Take your company's affairs for example, I solved it with just one sentence. How many people in Jiangcheng have such ability? Liu Qianyu became more and more proud. Just at this time, the door of the ward opened. A member of the Liu family ran in. Young master, it's bad, something happened. The Liu family member said with an ugly face. What's the fuss? If you have a fart, hurry up and fart, there is nothing I can't solve in Jiangcheng. Liu Qianyu snorted. The Chen family called the company and said that the cooperation with the Yi family would be put on hold for the time being, said a member of the Liu family. As soon as these words came out, Liu Qianyu's face became extremely ugly. This news gave Liu Qianyu a loud slap in the face. Just now, Liu Qianyu was bragging in front of Yanran about how capable he was and that he could settle the cooperation with just one word. In the end, the matter was not accomplished. Chapter 10. He can't be cured at all. Master Liu, take good care of your injuries. I'll go back first. Yanran looked at Liu Qianyu disappointedly, then stood up and left. Yanran breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, she didn't have to marry Liu Qianyu. But the company's affairs were not resolved, and Yanran began to worry again. In the ward. As soon as Yanran left, Liu Qianyu jumped up from the bed and kicked directly at the Liu family. You have ruined my face. You didn't come in earlier or later, but you came in when I was bragging. Liu Qianyu wanted to kick this Liu family member to death. The Liu family member was confused, not knowing what mistake he had made to make Liu Qianyu so angry. At this time, in the Chen family villa in Leju City, Jiang Yi was treating Mr. Chen. Dr. Ma and the medical team stood respectfully by the side to help Jiang Yi, looking at Jiang Yi with respect in their eyes, no longer arrogant as before. For them, being able to help a big man like Jiang Yi is the highest honor. Even if it is to brag to colleagues in the future, it is a very face-saving thing. Jiang Yi is still very cold to this group of people. The head of the Chen family and Chen Kuan also stood respectfully by the side, not even daring to breathe, for fear of disturbing Jiang Yi. Master, someone called and said that there is something to discuss with you. A servant walked in from outside and said in a low voice. I don't have time. The head of the Chen family said impatiently. Grandpa, that person said he was from the Sun family. The servant said. When he heard that it was someone from the Sun family, the head of the Chen family's face changed immediately. He left the room without thinking too much and went straight to their hall. Chen Kuan thought something big had happened and hurriedly followed him. After the head of the Chen family arrived at their hall, he answered the phone. The head of the Chen family, who was impatient just now, was now full of smiles on his face, nodding and saying yes. His tone was full of respect, and his appearance was funny. Chen Kuan on the side stared at him. I thought, could the other party be another big shot? After answering the phone, the head of the Chen family sat down on the sofa, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and then let out a long breath. Chen Kuan was full of doubts. This is the second time he has seen his father so nervous since he was a child. The first time was when Jiang Yi came. The second time was this time. Dad, what's going on? Chen Kuan asked curiously. Just now, the Sun family called and said that they would hold a charity auction in Jiangcheng to donate money to poor mountainous areas, build schools and public facilities, and asked our Chen family to help deal with this matter. The head of the Chen family smiled and said, the Sun family holds this kind of charity auction every year. It is really surprising that they chose to hold it in Jiangcheng this time. The Sun family is clearly using our Chen family as a dog. They hold a charity auction, and we Chen family pays for the money, but the reputation belongs to their Sun family. Chen Kuan was angry. Stupid, what do you know? The head of the Chen family was furious. The Sun family is well known in the business world of the entire Huaxia country, especially the head of the Sun family, Sun Xingshou, who is a powerful figure. I don't know how many people are trying their best to participate in the auction. So this is a great joy for the Chen family. Money is nothing. Being able to make friends with the Sun family is the most important thing. After hearing this, Chen Kuan finally understood. This matter must be dealt with priority, and there must be no negligence. Our Chen family must hold this charity auction beautifully. The head of the Chen family said. Yes, I will go and call all the members of the Chen family for a meeting. Chen Kuan said hurriedly. Also, we promise to help Master Jiang build a force in Jiangcheng, and we must not fall behind. We must deal with it quickly. The head of the Chen family said with a serious expression. Well. Chen Kuan nodded. After the explanation, the head of the Chen family returned to the ward and stood aside respectfully as before. Seeing that Mr. Chen was getting better, the head of the Chen family was overjoyed. He was amazed at Jiang Yi's medical skills. Dr. Ma and the medical team were stunned. The medical problems they couldn't solve were solved by Jiang Yi in a few steps. In the next few days, Jiang Yi treated Mr. Chen every day. In his spare time, Jiang Yi drank and admired the flowers in the back garden of the villa alone, and sometimes he would go to the city of Leju City. Jiang Yi felt very happy about this leisurely life. Today it was the last day of treatment, and it was extremely critical. Jiang Yi got up early in the morning, had breakfast, and sat on the sofa in the hall to watch a popular TV series recently. Oh no, Mr. Chen is vomiting blood. Dr. Ma ran down from upstairs in panic. At this time, the head of the Chen family and the members of the Chen family were also in their hall. Hearing this, the whole hall was in chaos. Especially the head of the Chen family, his face was extremely ugly. Everyone looked at Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi had a calm face, as if it had nothing to do with him at all, and was still watching TV leisurely. This made the members of the Chen family angry. Isn't Master Jiang a superb doctor? How could he make the old man vomit blood? In my opinion, he can't cure the old man's illness at all. If the old man gets into trouble, our Chen family must not let him go. The Chen family members were so scared that they hurriedly retreated. The head of the Chen family still held onto the last glimmer of hope. He believed that Jiang Yi had the ability. The title of Master Jiang was not for nothing. Master Jiang, the old man is in a bad condition. Please help him quickly. The head of the Chen family said to Jiang Yi with an ugly face, pleading on his face. No hurry. Jiang Yi looked at his watch and said, I will go and see when Mr. Chen is dead. As soon as these words came out, they directly aroused public outrage. The head of the Chen family was full of despair and sat down on the sofa. Jiang Yi did not explain that the more serious the disease, the more difficult it was to be treated with conventional methods. He made a promise and he would definitely be able to save Mr. Chen. These people did not understand at all. Even if he explained, they would not understand. Chapter 11, Far Beyond the Nine Heavens Mysterious Needle. Dr. Mar, we can only rely on you. The head of the Chen family looked at Dr. Mar. Dr. Mar was the last straw. Mr. Chen, there's nothing we can do about Mr. Chen's condition. Dr. Mar said helplessly. The head of the Chen family collapsed on the sofa again. Master, this kid cannot be kept alive. He must be killed to pay for the old man's life. A middle-aged woman stood up and said to the head of the Chen family with an angry face, Our Chen family has never been humiliated like this before. We can never let this matter go. This middle-aged woman was none other than Mrs. Chen, the wife of the head of the Chen family. Mrs. Chen is a very powerful person. The head of the Chen family was disheartened and immersed in sorrow, not caring about anything else. Master Jiang, how are you going to explain this matter to our Chen family? Mrs. Chen stared at Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi ignored Mrs. Chen. It seems you have nothing to say. Mrs. Chen said sternly, I am not an unreasonable person. Before I take action, I will give you 5 minutes to explain yourself. After the words fell, the whole fell silent. Everyone's eyes turned to Jiang Yi. Everyone thought that Jiang Yi would find a way to excuse himself, but Jiang Yi still drank tea and watched TV calmly, as if he didn't take it seriously at all. Jiang Yi's actions once again angered the Chen family. Everyone wanted to kill Jiang Yi with their own hands. Dr. Ma frowned slightly and kept observing Jiang Yi. I thought to myself, if it were someone else facing such great pressure, they would have collapsed long ago. But Jiang Yi remained calm and composed, and even had the mind to drink tea and watch TV. This incident was enough to show that Jiang Yi was a very strong person. Can be powerful enough to be frightening. He believed that Jiang Yi could definitely save Mr. Chen. The fact that Jiang Yi knew the Nine Heavens' mysterious needle was enough to explain everything. Call. Jiang Yi let out a breath and stretched. After looking at his watch, Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows and said, "It's time." After saying that, Jiang Yi stood up and walked upstairs. Seeing this, everyone hurriedly followed, wanting to see what Jiang Yi was trying to do. In the ward, Mr. Chen only had his last breath. The ground and bed were covered with the blood that Mr. Chen had vomited, and the scene looked horrifying. Jiang Yi took a look and then walked to Mr. Chen's side. Jiang Yi held the silver needle and quickly inserted it into various acupuncture points of Mr. Chen. His movements were as fast as lightning and he completed the task in one go. Acupuncture is very particular. Jiang Yi's control of strength and accuracy was very precise, almost perfect. Dr. Ma and the medical team widened their eyes in shock. There was only surprise on their faces and their eyes were full of disbelief. This expression was even more frightening than the one he had when he saw Jiang Yi using the Nine Heavens' mysterious needle. "Why are you so surprised?" Mrs. Chen asked puzzledly. Hearing Mrs. Chen's voice, Dr. Ma came back to his senses, took a deep breath, and said, "The Nine Heavens' mysterious needle that Master Jiang used a few days ago already surprised us, but we didn't expect that there was more to surprise us. This time, Master Jiang used the magic needle." "What is the phantom needle?" Mrs. Chen looked confused. Dr. Ma explained, "The magic needle and the Nine Heavens' mysterious needle are both one of the 10 major acupuncture techniques in the medical field. The magic needle has the ability to bring the dead back to life. No one has ever seen it with their own eyes. Like the Nine Heavens' mysterious needle, it has long been lost. It is only recorded in medical history books. Among the top 10 acupuncture techniques, the magic needle ranks 5th, far surpassing the Nine Heavens' mysterious needle." Mrs. Chen and everyone else were stunned. They don't understand medicine, nor do they know what the 10 major acupuncture techniques are, but they can tell that the phantom needle is an astonishing existence. Master Jiang's reputation is well deserved. Master Jiang has mastered 2 of the 10 major acupuncture techniques. Throughout history, there are probably only a few people with such attainments. After exclaiming, Dr. Ma laughed out loud, "I will die without regrets in this life because I have seen 2 of the 10 major acupuncture techniques at the same time." Those members of the medical team also felt emotional. In their eyes, Jiang Yi is like a god. Swoosh. Jiang Yi put away the silver needle. Puff. A mouthful of blood spurted out of Mr. Chen's mouth. The next second, Mr. Chen's pale face immediately turned rosy and his complexion returned to normal. Old Master Chen murmured something, slowly opened his eyes, and an expression of surviving a disaster appeared on his face. "I'm fine, you don't have to worry," Old Master Chen suddenly said. Everyone in the Chen family gathered around immediately, and their tears began to flow uncontrollably. Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows when he saw this scene, and without disturbing them, he turned and left the room. At this moment, I feel an indescribable sense of satisfaction in my heart. I haven't been out for a long time, and this feeling comes back again. After returning to the living room, Jiang Yi immediately turned on the TV and continued watching the TV series he had not finished. The members of the Chen family felt very guilty. After seeing Old Man Chen, they didn't dare to see Jiang Yi and left the villa in shame. "Master Jiang, it was our fault before. We shouldn't have doubted you. We feel deeply guilty about this matter," the head of the Chen family said helplessly. Afterwards, Mrs. Chen also hurried over to apologize to Jiang Yi. "Master Jiang, I'm really sorry. I'm here to apologize to you." Mrs. Chen's face was full of respect, but her heart was full of self-blame and guilt. "It's okay. I don't take this little thing to heart." Jiang Yi said, "My way of saving people is incomprehensible to most people, it's not entirely your fault. He is not a person who never gives in to others' unreasonable demands." Mrs. Chen and the head of the Chen family were sincere, so naturally I wouldn't bother with them. "Master Jiang, this is a little gift from me. Please accept it." The head of the Chen family took out a bank card and handed it to Jiang Yi. "I won't take the money. We had an agreement before. Your Chen family helps me build power in Jiangcheng, and I will help cure Mr. Chen." Jiang Yi said. "Master Jiang, our Chen family will do our best to fulfill our promise to you, but you must accept this money, otherwise we will feel uneasy. The head of the Chen family was very determined. Jiang Yi didn't refuse and took the card. Mr. Chen still needs some time to recuperate before he can recover. I'm afraid I have to stay in your house for a while. I can only leave after Mr. Chen has fully recovered. Jiang Yi looked at the head of the Chen family. It is an honor for our Chen family that Master Jiang can live in our house. We'll leave the old man's illness in the hands of Master Jiang. The head of the Chen family said hurriedly. Mrs. Chen also responded quickly with an extremely respectful attitude. The head of the Chen family knew that Jiang Yi liked quietness, so he drove most of the people in the villa away and only left the servants to serve Jiang Yi. In addition, Dr. Ma and the medical team also stayed to assist Jiang Yi. Chapter 12. You be my bodyguard. In the blink of an eye, a week passed. Mr. Chen has fully recovered, and not only that, he is now stronger than before. On the 7th day, Jiang Yi prepared to return to Jiangcheng. After finishing his meal, Jiang Yi prepared to say goodbye to the patriarch of the Chen family. Before he could even open his mouth, the head of the Chen family started talking about the auction being held by the Sun family in Jiangcheng. The auction is ready and will begin in 3 days. The head of the Chen family smiled and said, fortunately, nothing went wrong this time, otherwise if the Sun family blamed us, our Chen family would be in big trouble. Which Sun family? Jiang Yi asked curiously. The Sun family in Beijing. The patriarch is Sun Xingshou, a leader in the medical field. The patriarch of the Chen family said hurriedly. Upon hearing this, Jiang Yi was stunned for a moment, then he laughed in his heart. I haven't seen this old guy for many years. I wonder how he is doing now. The head of the Chen family knew very well that although Sun Xingshou was extremely powerful and famous, he still had to call Jiang Yi master. Jiang Yi is the real big shot. People like Jiang Yi and Sun Xingshou are people that the Chen family can only look up to. It is a great honor for the Chen family to be able to invite Jiang Yi this time. There are many treasures in this auction. If Master Jiang has anything he likes, just let me know and I will arrange it. After the head of the Chen family finished speaking, he ordered someone to bring the auction list and handed it to Jiang Yi respectfully. The head of the Chen family had good intentions, so Jiang Yi couldn't refuse and just started to flip through the books casually. Jiang Yi had no interest in these so-called treasures. But when he saw a jade pendant, Jiang Yi was stunned. Jiang Yi had heard his master mention this jade pendant in the past, but he never expected it to appear at this auction. The jade pendant is called the longevity jade. It emits a chemical that can slow down the aging of human cells, which is beyond the reach of current medical technology. To put it simply, the longevity jade can prolong life if worn for a long time. It is a very rare treasure. It is no exaggeration to describe it as priceless. Jiang Yi took a look at the auction price and couldn't help laughing in his heart. The auction price was 100,000. It is not difficult to see from the auction price that no one has yet realized the value of this piece of longevity jade. Jiang Yi plans to find a way to get it. Soon, Jiang Yi found a few more items. The auction prices of these items are very low, but their value cannot be estimated in terms of money. I'm very interested in this auction. I'll have to go and see it in person when the time comes. Jiang Yi said to the head of the Chen family. Then I'll go and arrange it. The head of the Chen family was a little excited. This is not a big deal, but it can help me get along well with Jiang Yi. There are countless benefits to making friends with people like Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi then mentioned the matter of returning to Jiangcheng. The Chen family immediately sent someone to prepare a private plane for Jiang Yi, but Jiang Yi refused. Jiang Yi likes to keep a low profile and doesn't like such a grand ceremony. Arriving at the bus station, Jiang Yi bought a ticket, got on the bus and returned to Jiangcheng. Jiang Yi was on his way back to his villa in a taxi when he happened to encounter a car accident ahead and was stuck on the road. It only takes 10 minutes to walk back to the villa from here. Jiang Yi didn't want to wait, so he got off the car and walked home. When passing through an alley, a woman was running towards this side. The woman had a charming appearance, gorgeous clothes, and sharp eyes. It was obvious at first glance that she was not an ordinary person. The woman ran very fast, obviously running for her life. Soon, a cloaked man appeared in sight. This cloaked man had sharp eyes and exuded a cold, murderous aura. Jiang Yi didn't intend to care and continued on his own way. The man in the cloak quickly caught up with the woman, and with a flash of cold light, he swung the dagger in his hand straight at the woman. The woman looked unwilling. Just as the dagger was about to pierce the woman's throat, a silver needle flew through the air and knocked the dagger out of the cloaked man's hand. Court death. The man in the cloak looked at Jiang Yi with a fierce gaze and murderous intent on his face. Jiang Yi ignored the cloaked man and stared at the scorpion tattoo on his wrist. Jiang Yi has seen this tattoo before. This is the logo of a killer organization in the country. All killers of this organization have this tattoo. When he was 10 years old, his entire family was killed. After investigation by relevant departments, the only clue was the scorpion tattoo. Over the years, Jiang Yi has been looking for this killer organization and has secretly used all his connections and relationships. But in the end, nothing was found, and the killer organization seemed to have disappeared out of thin air. Jiang Yi never thought that he would run into him today. Whoosh! The man in the cloak clenched the dagger in his hand and stabbed towards Jiang Yi. The cloaked man's methods were extremely cunning and vicious. Unfortunately, he was unlucky and met Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi moved his finger and a needle flew out, heading straight for the acupuncture point of the man in the cloak. The man in the cloak fell to the ground, his whole body powerless, like a puddle of mud. Take me to the base of your organization, and I will spare your life. Jiang Yi stared at the man in the cloak and said coldly. Who are you? A trace of panic flashed in the cloaked man's eyes. Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi spoke directly. This killer organization is hidden too deeply and cannot be found, otherwise Jiang Yi would have destroyed this killer organization and found the mastermind behind it long ago. This time, Jiang Yi will not miss any opportunity. Once you fall into my hands, you can't escape. Jiang Yi said in a deep voice. As soon as he finished speaking, the cloaked killer's body twitched and then his head drooped. Jiang Yi secretly cried out that something was wrong. He pried open the cloaked killer's teeth and found that the killer had committed suicide by taking poison. Damn it! Jiang Yi was so angry that he kept cursing. After so many years of investigation, we finally got a clue, but due to a moment of carelessness, the clue was lost again. You saved my life, I won't treat you unfairly. As the woman spoke, she walked over, looked at Jiang Yi, and said with a smile, I didn't expect him to be so handsome. Quite interesting. After that, the woman took out a card from her bag and handed it to Jiang Yi. This is your reward. Jiang Yi was now feeling very depressed. He didn't even look at the woman and stood up to walk out of the alley. It's the first time I've met someone who doesn't buy my story. It's interesting. The woman gave him a playful smile and chased after him. Your name is Jiang Yi, right? You're quite skilled, so be my bodyguard. Those assassins will come looking for trouble with me again. If you can guarantee my safety, just tell me how much you want. Jiang Yi stopped. Yes. The clues are still there. The people from this killer organization are hunting this woman. As long as we keep an eye on her, we will definitely find clues. This opportunity must not be missed. How about we make a deal? The woman looked at Jiang Yi with a charming smile on her face. My name is Dongfang Mai, I'm from Beijing. I came to Jiangcheng this time to do something. I have to stay in Jiangcheng for a while. During this time, you are responsible for protecting my safety, and I will help you lure out the people from the assassin organization. We will each get what we need. Jiang Yi was stunned for a moment. This woman is so amazing, she actually figured out that he was looking for that killer organization. This woman's identity must be extraordinary. Doing business with her is like trying to get the skin of a tiger. But in order to find the killer organization, Jiang Yi can't care about so many things now. Okay, we each take what we need. Jiang Yi agreed. Chapter 13 No Taste. Back in the hall, Dongfang Mai sat on the sofa and began to look around the villa. I didn't expect you had a little money to live in such a luxurious villa. Dongfang Mai crossed her legs and looked at Jiang Yi. Is it okay for me to live in the villa with you in the future? Jiang Yi nodded and agreed. It is more convenient for Dongfang Mai to live in a villa. Why does that killer organization want to kill you? Jiang Yi asked Dongfang Mai. I don't know. Dongfang Mai said. If you don't tell me the truth, I can't guarantee your safety. You are a smart person, you should know this very well. Jiang Yi frowned slightly. This woman is very difficult to deal with and it's hard to get her to tell the truth. I'm telling the truth. Dongfang Mai took a deep breath and said, I have a special identity. There are so many people who want me dead that even I can't count them all. Jiang Yi couldn't help but look at Dongfang Mai. This woman must be someone extraordinary. If I continue asking, I probably won't get anything out of it. I met her by chance and don't know her well, so she must be wary of me. You stay in the villa, I'm going to buy some equipment. Remember, you are not allowed to leave the villa without my permission. Jiang Yi reminded. Dongfang Mai completely ignored Jiang Yi and went straight upstairs. Jiang Yi didn't want to waste time talking and turned to leave the villa. When buying equipment, Jiang Yi used the card of the head of the Chen family to pay and found that there was a full 100 million on it. Jiang Yi did not expect the head of the Chen family to be so generous. After purchasing the equipment, Jiang Yi returned to the villa and started installing it. Jiang Yi bought a lot of monitors, thermal sensors, alarms, etc. These things are very critical. Once the killer organization breaks into the villa, he will be able to discover it at the first time. As long as the people from the killer organization dare to come, they will never return. After all the equipment was installed, it was getting dark and Jiang Yi planned to go back to his room to rest for a while. After pushing the door open, he found Dongfang Mai in her room, lying on the bed reading a magazine with a comfortable look on her face. This is my room. Jiang Yi said speechlessly, except for this room, you can live in any other room you want. This room is the most comfortable in the whole villa. I will live here from now on. From now on, you are not allowed to enter my room. A charming smile appeared on Dongfang Mai's face. If you want to share a room with me, I don't mind. Jiang Yi's face turned dark. This woman is really difficult to deal with. She was really rude and grabbed my room as soon as she arrived at the villa. She completely treated this place as her territory. In order to find the lair of the killer organization, Jiang Yi decided to endure it. Jiang Yi took a deep breath and turned around. Please close the door of the room. Dongfang Mai shouted. Jiang Yi ignored him and went straight to the room downstairs. No words all night. The next morning, Jiang Yi was awakened by a noise. When I left the room, I saw a group of servants busy cleaning the villa. The deserted villa suddenly became lively. Dongfang Mai sat on the sofa with her legs crossed, drinking red wine and reading a magazine comfortably. Jiang Yi was extremely angry. Dongfang Mai completely treats this place as her own home. You have such a tasteless life. You don't even have a servant for such a big villa. The grass in the garden behind is as tall as a man. Not only did I find so many servants for you, I also found a gardener to manage the garden for you. Do you feel much better now? Do you feel like home? Dongfang Mai said proudly, no need to thank me. Jiang Yi didn't say anything. Let Dongfang Mai make trouble however she wants. I don't want to join in the fun with her. After finding the killer organization, kick her out directly. Seeing that Jiang Yi didn't say anything, Dongfang Mai became quiet. For the next 2 days, Jiang Yi stayed in the villa, waiting for the killer from the killer organization to appear. The result disappointed Jiang Yi. 2 days passed and nothing was found. Jiang Yi did not give up. Jiang Yi believed that the killer from this killer organization would definitely show up, and he just had to wait and see. On the 3rd day, the Sun family began to hold auctions. Jiang Yi plans to go there. Jiang Yi told Dongfang Mai about the auction. Dongfang Mai agreed to go with him and even spent an hour putting on makeup. The auction held by the Sun family caused a sensation throughout the entire Jiang province. There were many forces that wanted to curry favor with the Sun family, and they all flocked to Jiangcheng. Jiangcheng became the focus of the entire Jiang province. You live in such a nice villa, but you don't even have a car. Dongfang Mai looked at Jiang Yi with strange eyes. I now doubt whether this villa is yours. I love riding the bus. After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he walked straight towards the bus stop on the street. Dongfang Mai could only keep up with Jiang Yi by wearing high heels. Jiang Yi actually had a Bentley before, which was a birthday gift given to him by Yanran last year. After the divorce, Jiang Yi took nothing away. After getting on the bus, Jiang Yi took a quick look and found that there was only one seat. Jiang Yi didn't hesitate and sat down directly. You really have no sympathy for women. A grown man actually snatched my seat. Dongfang Mai stared at Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi pretended not to hear. The bus goes directly to the auction. The auction will be held at Jiangcheng Hotel. Dongfang Mai is wearing a red long dress. She is beautiful and charming in every move. As soon as I got off the bus, I attracted countless people's attention. Dongfang Mai seemed to have gotten used to it and looked very calm, facing everyone's gaze. Soon, Dongfang Mai became the focus of the whole audience. Jiang Yi's ordinary clothes formed a sharp contrast with his oriental beauty. Jiang Yi and Dongfang Mai walked side by side, attracting many jealous glances. What kind of world is this? The good cabbages are eaten by pigs. An obese-rich second-generation man couldn't help but curse out loud. Several other second-generation rich people also echoed the sentiment. What they didn't know was that Jiang Yi had nothing to do with Dongfang Mai, they were just strangers who met by chance. Puff. Dongfang Mai laughed. This smile was so beautiful that it almost took everyone's soul away. Oriental beauty is like a fox spirit transformed. Jiang Yi regretted bringing Dongfang Mai along. He should have let her stay in the villa. Oriental beauty is indeed beautiful. But Jiang Yi was not interested. Do you have an invitation? The security guard blocked Jiang Yi and Dongfang Mai's way. The security guards around were all staring at Jiang Yi. Those who came to participate in the auction this time were all wealthy and powerful people in Jiang province. They were either big bosses of companies or powerful people. Jiang Yi was dressed in ordinary clothes and didn't even have a car. He's just a security guard, but is so snobbish. Dongfang Mai said with a hint of anger. Miss, this is the rule from above, there is nothing we can do about it. The security guard said with a smile on his face and a respectful tone. Oriental beauty is dressed gorgeously and you can tell at first glance that she is not an ordinary person. The security guard's attitude towards Dongfang Mai is completely different from his attitude towards Jiang Yi. Chapter 14 The Lost Yanran. I have. Jiang Yi took out the invitation with a calm attitude. The security guard snatched it away and said in a cold voice, if the invitation is fake, don't blame us for being rude. According to the rules, we will throw you onto the street. After saying that, the security guard opened the invitation. The next second, the security guard was stunned. The security guard didn't believe his eyes and continued to look carefully. The security guard's expression confused the surrounding security guards, who hurried over and looked carefully. The security guards who saw the invitation were all stunned. After a long time, the security guards came to their senses. The disdain on their faces turned into respectful smiles, and they even looked at Jiang Yi with a bit of admiration. Sir, we didn't recognize a great man. I hope you don't take it to heart. The security guard hurriedly apologized to Jiang Yi. Afterwards, he respectfully returned the invitation to Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi ignored her and took Dongfang Mai into the villa. Everyone looked at Jiang Yi's back, their hearts full of confusion. Many of them had not received invitations, but had come here before dawn to wait, hoping to find a chance to enter the auction. Jiang Yi is such an inconspicuous person, but not only did he have an invitation, but judging from the attitude of the security guard, Jiang Yi seemed to be some big shot. That guy looks like a pauper with no power or influence. How could he have an invitation? The invitation must be fake. Everyone started arguing. The invitation is real. A security guard said, not only is it real, but it's not just an ordinary invitation. It has the signatures of young Master Sun and the head of the Chen family. There are only 10 of these invitations in the entire auction house. That gentleman is a VIP among VIPs. This made everyone dumbfounded. As for Jiang Yi, he has already arrived at the auction venue. Jiang Yi glanced around and saw Yi Yanran and Yi Xiaofeng in the crowd. There is another person. Liu Chenyu. At this time, Liu Chenyu was sitting next to Yi Yanran and talking to her. Yi Yanran just nodded without saying a word. She disliked Liu Chenyu very much, but for the sake of the company, she had to accompany him. The reason why Yi Yanran attended the auction started from last night. Liu Chenyu ran directly to the Yi family last night. Tell Yi Yanran that this auction is hosted by the Sun family and prepared by the Chen family. If you can please the Chen and Yi families through the auction, cooperation and investment will definitely be successful. This is the only chance for Yi Yanran. For this opportunity, Yi Yanran put in a lot of effort and finally managed to collect more than 50 million to participate in the auction. The main reason is that Yi Yanran invested all the money in newly developed projects, so it is already quite good to be able to raise 50 million. Why is Jiang Yi, that stinky beggar, here too? There was disdain in Liu Qianyu's tone and murderous intent in his eyes. Liu Qianyu wished he could kill Jiang Yi right away. He knew very well that only by killing Jiang Yi would he have a chance to become the son-in-law of the Yi family. When Yi Yanran heard that Jiang Yi was coming, she couldn't help but look at Jiang Yi. When seeing Dongfang Mai beside Jiang Yi, Yi Yanran's eyes revealed a hint of bitterness and her face showed melancholy. When Liu Qianyu saw Dongfang Mai, his eyes widened. Seeing Yi Yanran right next to him, Liu Qianyu reluctantly withdrew his gaze. Liu Qianyu's actions were very covert, but Yi Yanran still saw them, which made Yi Yanran feel a little more disgusted with Liu Qianyu. Yanran, don't be fooled. Yi Xiafeng said, Jiang Yi deliberately brought beautiful women to the auction. He must have done it to piss you off. If you get angry, it will help him get what he wants. I have nothing to do with him anymore, why should I be angry? Yi Yanran said nonchalantly. Although she said this, Yi Yanran felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. It seems that you have figured it out, sister. That's great. Yi Xiafeng said happily. Yi Yanran didn't say anything, trying not to show her discomfort on her face. She doesn't want anyone to see. I don't want Jiang Yi to see it. Jiang Yi also saw Yi Yanran, but he just glanced at her and then looked away. What's your relationship with that woman? Dongfang Mai showed a hint of curiosity on her face. She's my ex-wife and we just divorced. Jiang Yi took a deep breath. This was the first time Jiang Yi said the word, ex-wife. Dongfang Mai showed a playful smile on her face, approached Jiang Yi, and directly put her arm around Jiang Yi's arm. What are you doing? Jiang Yi frowned. Of course I'm helping you, to piss off your ex-wife. Dongfang Mai said with a smile. Jiang Yi was ready to pull Dongfang Mai's hand away. You won't do that. Dongfang Mai stared into Jiang Yi's eyes. Jiang Yi raised his hand and paused. Finally, Jiang Yi put his hand down and let Dongfang Mai hold it. Jiang Yi smiled bitterly in his heart. I don't know why I do this. Maybe he really wanted to piss off Yi Yanran. It seems that he still can't let go of Yi Yanran, otherwise he wouldn't do such a childish thing. I never thought that bastard Jiang Yi would end up with a rich woman so quickly. Fortunately, Yanran, you divorced him. This kind of man is not worth entrusting your life to. Liu Qianyu continued to add fuel to the fire. Sister, what Master Liu said is absolutely right. If you want to find a husband, you have to find someone like Master Liu. Yi Xiafeng said, young Master Liu is a truly good man. You will be truly happy only if you marry young Master Liu. Yi Yanran didn't hear anything. She is very confused now. Liu Qianyu didn't have the courage to attack Jiang Yi at the Sun family's auction, but he would not miss the opportunity to humiliate Jiang Yi. Liu Qianyu straightened his suit and then swaggered towards Jiang Yi. Mr. Jiang, you are a loser who relies on women for a living. What qualifications do you have to come to the auction held by the Sun family? Liu Qianyu questioned with a sneer on his face. If I am a waste, you are even worse than a waste. Jiang Yi retorted. When Liu Qianyu heard Jiang Yi scolding him as worse than trash, his lips twitched with anger. Why, isn't it? Jiang Yi sneered, if you are not the young master of the Liu family, you are nothing. What is there to brag about? Do you dare to say that you bought all these brand-name clothes with your own money? Liu Qianyu blushed. Liu Qianyu didn't want to embarrass himself in front of so many people. Especially he didn't want to embarrass himself in front of Yi Yanran. No matter what, I am the young master of the Liu family. In a few years, I will become the chairman of the Liu group. Liu Qianyu said smugly, and you are nothing. If the Yi family hadn't taken you in, you would have starved to death on the street. Now you've been divorced by Yanran and kicked out of the Yi family. You can't rely on Yanran for food, so you can only beg on the street. Yi Xiafeng also came over. Chapter 15 VIP. Jiang Yi, you are so shameless. My sister has already divorced you, but you still shamelessly followed me to the auction. Yi Xiafeng also humiliated Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi looked calm. Jiang Yi didn't want to pay any attention to them at all. Liu Qianyu and Yi Xiafeng were like two mad dogs biting people indiscriminately. By arguing with them, I ended up becoming the same kind of people as them. Miss, you have very poor taste. Yi Xiafeng looked at Dongfang Mai and said, you are so beautiful, how could you fall for a loser like Jiang Yi? When he was still the son-in-law of our Yi family, he was a complete loser. His only ability was to rely on women for a living. Dongfang Mai is very smart. After listening for so long, she has already figured out the whole story. Oriental beauty feels ridiculous. From the first moment she saw Jiang Yi, she knew that Jiang Yi was a man of real ability. It's not that I have no vision, but that you people have very poor vision. Dongfang Mai smiled and said, "You, the Yi family, will regret this sooner or later. I haven't known Jiang Yi for long, so I don't know what he is capable of. But based on my experience, I know he is definitely a very capable person. You short-sighted people don't even have the qualifications to look up to him." Dongfang Mai cursed everyone with this one sentence without using a single curse word. Originally, Dongfang Mai didn't want to get involved in Jiang Yi's affairs, but Yi Xiaofeng insisted on involving her. Dongfang Mai is a powerful character. By provoking Oriental beauty, they have chosen the wrong target. It's ridiculous that you value a piece of trash so much. You will regret it sooner or later. Yi Xiaofeng said gloatingly. Does this have anything to do with you? Dongfang Mai looked at Yi Xiaofeng and said, judging from your attire, you must be a young master from a small family. If I'm not mistaken, you came to this kind of occasion to make friends with the rich and powerful, but do you think anyone would pay attention to someone like you? After Dongfang Mai finished speaking, her eyes fell on Liu Qianyu again. You look much richer than that guy before. You should be the young master of a third-rate family. You deliberately humiliated Jiang Yi. Let's not talk about whether you are qualified or not. Look at your own morality. People like you don't even know how to behave as a human being. No matter how rich you are a scum of society, just a pathetic parasite. Dongfang Mai scolded both Yi Xiaofeng and Liu Qianyu. The two were so angry that they gritted their teeth. The two of them were so embarrassed that their faces turned red, but they couldn't utter a word. Jiang Yi was stunned. Dongfang Mai is indeed a powerful character. Yi Xiaofeng and Liu Qianyu were scolded by her so hard that they couldn't even fart. Whoever messes with this kind of woman will be in trouble. When Jiang Yi saw Yi Xiaofeng and Liu Qianyu looking frustrated, he couldn't help but laugh. The onlookers wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare to. They didn't want to offend Liu Qianyu, so they had to hold it in. Jiang Yi didn't pay attention to Yi Yanran's expression. He and Dongfang Mai walked to the front row and sat down directly in the first row. As soon as Jiang Yi sat down, everyone's eyes turned to him. Someone frowned. Someone is confused. Even Yi Yanran and Liu Qianyu looked at Jiang Yi. This is not surprising. Not everyone can sit in this seat. The Sun family has an unwritten rule when holding auctions. The Sun family will screen out those who will participate in the auction. The more prestigious and powerful a person is, the more seats they will have at the front. Even Liu Qianyu could only sit in the middle chair. Yi Yanran sat in the chair at the back. As soon as Jiang Yi appeared, he outshined everyone else. The position of the chair is a symbol of status. After many people came to their senses, they began to whisper. This chair is for VIPs. How can a useless son-in-law abandoned by the Yi family like him be qualified to sit in this chair? That's right, this kid is definitely trying to attract attention. It's not grandstanding, it's just pretending. Everyone started pointing fingers at Jiang Yi. Liu Qianyu showed a gloomy sneer on his face. I had intended to humiliate Jiang Yi just now, but I failed and ended up losing face. Now a better opportunity has come. I can take advantage of the auction security to deal with Jiang Yi. After Liu Qianyu finished his calculations, he walked straight outside. A moment later, Liu Qianyu walked in from outside with a large group of security guards. Leading the team is a ferocious security captain. It was this kid who deliberately disrupted the meeting. Liu Qianyu pointed at Jiang Yi and said to the security captain, "This chair is for VIPs. He is a loser who is even despised by the Yi family. He dared to sit on it. This is clearly ignoring the rules of the auction and deliberately disrupting the auction. It's no big deal." Liu Qianyu went through so much trouble just to make things bigger. It was so serious that the Sun family killed Jiang Yi. The security captain didn't know about the invitation. He was furious. He stared at Jiang Yi and said in a deep voice, "How dare you disrupt the auction and disregard the auction rules? Get out of the auction right now, or I'll be rude to you." Jiang Yi pretended not to hear. He knew very well that Liu Qianyu wanted to make a big deal out of it. If things get out of hand, it won't be me who will be in trouble, but Liu Qianyu and these security guards. Not to mention such a small matter, even if he ruined the auction, that old man Sun Xinshou and the Chen family would not dare to say a word. You are not qualified to tell me to go away. Jiang Yi didn't even raise his eyelids, and said lightly, I'm going to sit on this chair today. Let alone you, even if someone from the Sun family or the Chen family comes, I won't take it seriously. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone burst into laughter. In their eyes, Jiang Yi is just a pretentious clown. Boy, you are so arrogant. With your status, you are not even qualified to carry shoes for the people in my Chen family and Sun family. Liu Qianyu sneered. Liu Qianyu wanted to see how Jiang Yi would end up today. The security captain didn't want to waste time and waved to the security guards around him. The security guards walked over, surrounded Jiang Yi, and prepared to throw Jiang Yi out. Jiang Yi remained unmoved. I have long seen that Liu Qianyu has colluded with the security captain, otherwise it would not be necessary to bring so many people here for such a small matter. Jiang Yi didn't mind the trouble. If they wanted to play, he would play with them. What happened? A voice suddenly sounded from behind the crowd. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound. Then the onlookers hurriedly made way. The person who came was none other than Chen Kuan. As soon as Chen Kuan appeared, many people immediately ran over to greet him, with respect on their faces. Chen Kuan ignored him and walked straight over here. Brother Chen, why didn't you inform me when you came to Jiangcheng? I could have held a banquet to welcome you. Liu Qianyu hurried over to try to get close to Chen Kuan. I'm in a hurry, I don't have time. Chen Kuan took a deep breath, I have a lot of things to do. My dad asked me to help the Sun family organize an auction, and I dare not delay. The two began to exchange pleasantries. Chapter 16, Not Knowing the Highness of Heaven and Earth. I'm afraid you're in trouble this time. Dongfang Mai said to Jiang Yi with a smile. Jiang Yi smiled and said nothing. This kind of trouble is not a trouble at all for me. Brother Chen, you came at the right time. There is a guy who is ignorant of the world and disrupted the auction. We need to teach him a lesson, otherwise no one will take the Chen family seriously in the future. Liu Qianyu deliberately used this incident to anger Chen Kuan. Liu Qianyu's trick is very effective. An angry expression immediately appeared on Chen Kuan's face. Chen Kuan was right behind Jiang Yi and could only see Jiang Yi's back. He did not recognize Jiang Yi at all. This is outrageous. He actually dared to cause trouble at the auction. I must skin him alive today. Chen Kuan walked towards Jiang Yi angrily. Everyone looked at Jiang Yi as if he were a dead person. Chen Kuan is ruthless. Anyone who provokes him will end up dead. This kid really doesn't know his place. He is just a newborn calf that is not afraid of a tiger. Once Chen Kuan comes, he will definitely die. Even if he is not killed by Chen Kuan, he will lose a layer of skin. Everyone was talking about it. When Chen Kuan was only 4 or 5 steps away from Jiang Yi turned around and looked at Chen Kuan. After Chen Kuan saw Jiang Yi's true face, he was stunned. Chen Kuan was frightened. He never thought that the person Liu Qianyu was talking about would be Jiang Yi. After a long time, Chen Kuan finally came to his senses. Young Master Chen, this is the guy. The security captain pointed at Jiang Yi and said. Bang! Chen Kuan slapped the security captain in the face. The security captain was stunned. Everyone was also stunned. This incident was completely beyond everyone's expectations. Everyone thought Chen Kuan would deal with Jiang Yi directly, but Chen Kuan slapped the security captain in the face. Tell me, what's going on? Chen Kuan asked in a deep voice. The security captain did not dare to hide it and said hurriedly, this seat is for VIPs, and this kid just sat on it. I asked him to leave, but he refused. I had no choice but to ask the security to throw him out. When Chen Kuan heard this, he immediately understood. Par. Chen Kuan swung his hand and slapped the security captain again. After 2 slaps on the same side of his face, the security captain's face became as swollen as a steamed bun. Until now, the security captain still hasn't figured out why he was beaten. This chair is reserved for Master Jiang. Master Jiang is not qualified to sit on it. Do you think you are qualified? Chen Kuan said. Afterwards, Chen Kuan greeted Jiang Yi respectfully. Master Jiang, it is an honor for the Chen family to have you here. Everyone present was stunned. Each one looks like a wood sculpture. The entire auction hall was silent. Just now everyone thought that Jiang Yi sat on that chair just to show off, but they didn't expect that this chair was specially given to Jiang Yi. What puzzled them was why the Chen family would treat a waste as a VIP. What they didn't expect was that the young master of the Chen family would be so respectful in front of Jiang Yi. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. In the entire Jiang province, few people have such treatment. Everyone, come here and apologize to Master Jiang until Master Jiang is satisfied. Chen Kuan shouted angrily at the security guards. The security guards hurried over and stood in a row in front of Jiang Yi. Master Jiang, I'm sorry. The security guards apologized in unison. Jiang Yi didn't say anything, he just picked up the teacup and drank slowly. Chen Kuan could see that Jiang Yi was very unhappy now. Slap yourself. Stop when Master Jiang forgives you. Chen Kuan roared. When the security guards heard this, they all looked helpless. The security captain knew very well that he must have offended someone who should not have been offended this time. In order to save his life, he had to take the lead in slapping the man. Less than 3 minutes. All the security guards had faces as swollen as steamed buns. But they didn't dare to stop and continued to slap themselves. Jiang Yi didn't say a word and continued drinking tea. Liu Qianyu's face turned pale. After all the trouble, not only did they fail to deal with Jiang Yi, but they also ended up harming the security captain. He really couldn't understand why Chen Kuan was so respectful to Jiang Yi. After thinking for a long time, Liu Qianyu still couldn't figure it out. Yanran and Yi Xiaofeng were also confused. That's enough. Jiang Yi said to Chen Kuan, this is not a big deal, forget it. Jiang Yi was not soft-hearted, but this matter had to be resolved, and he had to give face to the head of the Chen family. If the commotion continues, the auction won't be able to go ahead. This time I came here for the immortality jade. Master Jiang is so magnanimous that he spared your lives. Why don't you thank Master Jiang? Chen Kuan shouted to the security guards. Thank you, Master Jiang, for not bearing grudges against me. The security captain and the security guards spoke in unison. Get out of here. Chen Kuan cursed angrily. The security guards hurriedly left the auction venue, fearing that Jiang Yi would go back on his word and continue to deal with them. After Chen Kuan dealt with the security guards, Jiang Yi still looked unhappy, knowing that there was still one person who had not been dealt with. This person is Liu Qianyu. Master Jiang, I will teach Liu Qianyu a lesson, don't worry. After Chen Kuan finished speaking, he called Liu Qianyu and walked out of the venue. Jiang Yi is not a fool, he knows that Chen Kuan wants to let Liu Qianyu go. Before, when he was at Chen's house, Chen Kuan said he wanted to help Jiang Yi get rid of Liu Qianyu. At that time, Jiang Yi had already realized that Chen Kuan said such things just to please him. Jiang Yi had no intention of exposing it. It would be too boring to kill Liu Qianyu like this. I also want to have some fun with Liu Qianyu and let him know what despair is. But Chen Kuan, after taking Liu Qianyu outside, said, don't make trouble at the auction today, or I can't help you. Brother Chen, what's going on? Liu Qianyu looked puzzled. Why are you so afraid of that loser Jiang Yi? There are some things that you won't understand even if I tell you. I have something urgent to do, so I'm leaving first. Chen Kuan drove away from the hotel without any explanation. Liu Qianyu had no choice but to watch Chen Kuan leave. He never believed that Jiang Yi was some big shot. Liu Qianyu had investigated Jiang Yi before and felt that Chen Kuan must have been deceived by Jiang Yi. Liu Qianyu sneered, turned around and went back into the auction hall. Jiang Yi sneered when he saw Liu Qianyu returning safely. My guess turned out to be correct. The relationship between Liu Qianyu and Chen Kuan is really special. I didn't expect you to have some abilities. I'm becoming more and more curious about you now. Dongfang Mai's gaze fell on Jiang Yi. I can see through anyone, but not you. You are like a mystery, giving people an indescribable sense of mystery. Jiang Yi smiled and said nothing. The person who can see through it has not been born yet. Sometimes even I can't see through myself. At this moment, the host took the microphone and went up to the podium. After glancing at everyone, he said, everyone, let me give you the warmest applause to welcome the organizer of this auction. Before that person appeared, the audience was already applauding loudly. They knew that the organizer was from the Sun family. Chapter 17 Identity of Oriental Beauty. Soon, a man in a black suit and with a cold expression walked up to the platform. This man is about the same age as Jiang Yi. The man was handsome, exuding a cold aura, and had a pair of sharp eyes that made people dare not look directly at him. This person was none other than Sun Jun, Sun Xingshou's most beloved grandson. Sun Jun is a very capable man, a legend in the Beijing business community. Even Sun Xingshou is ashamed of his business skills. When the people in the audience saw that it was Sun Jun who was personally hosting the auction, they all exclaimed in surprise. "Oh my god, I didn't expect the Sun family to send Sun Jun to be in charge of the auction. Even if I can't take any good photos, it's worth the trip." It is really exciting to see Sun Jun, a legend in the business world, in person today. Many people have made up their minds that they must find a way to perform well at the auction this time. If I had the chance to get to know Sun Jun, it would not only be an honor, but would also bring me countless benefits. Yanran and Liu Qianyu couldn't sit still anymore. Even Liu Qianyu didn't expect that the Sun family would send Li Jun this time. Only Jiang Yi looked calm. After seeing Jiang Yun, Sun Jun smiled and nodded to Jiang Yi. Liu Qianyu was sitting behind Jiang Yi. He thought Sun Jun was nodding to him, so he immediately stood up from his chair, flattered. Not knowing how to respond to Li Jun, he bowed directly to Li Jun. After sitting down, Liu Qianyu crossed his legs with a smug look on his face. "I didn't expect Sun Jun to know me. It's such an honor." Liu Qianyu said to Yi Yanran proudly, "Yanran, after the auction is over, I will go to Li Jun to talk about your company. He should give me this face." When Yi Yanran heard this, she was overjoyed. "Thank you, young Master Liu," Yi Yanran said gratefully. "Yanran, you are so polite to me, it makes us seem distant. Didn't I tell you last time? Don't call me Master Liu anymore, call me Qianyu." Liu Qianyu looked at Yi Yanran tenderly. Yi Yanran didn't say anything, but forced a smile on her face. In the front row of chairs, Jiang Yi turned his head to look at Dong Fangmai and asked, "Li Jun is also from Beijing. Do you know him?" "I don't know." Dong Fangmai dodged her gaze and changed the subject. "Who are you?" "Even a big shot like Li Jun nodded and smiled at you. I'm the useless son-in-law who was kicked out by the Yi family, you know." Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows. Dong Fangmai looked incredulous. She guessed that Jiang Yi was definitely not an ordinary person. "It's okay if you don't tell me. I'll find a way to find out." Dong Fangmai showed a charming smile on her face. "I am becoming more and more interested in you now." Jiang Yi didn't say anything. She is interested in me, but I am not interested in her. Once I find the killer organization, I will kick her out. Everyone, thank you for coming to the auction. I would like to thank you on behalf of the Sun family. After Sun Jun finished speaking, he glanced at everyone and said, "I declare that the auction officially begins." After saying that, Sun Jun asked people to bring the auction items to the platform one by one. The first item to be auctioned today is jadeite, with a starting price of 100,000. Sun Jun shouted. The people in the audience began to compete for the bid. In order to attract Li Jun's attention, Liu Qianyu raised the price to more than 1 million. This piece of jade is worth no more than 500,000. In order to please the Sun family, many big bosses also raised the price one after another, from more than 1 million at the beginning to more than 3 million, but the bidding still did not end. They knew clearly that this was giving money to the Sun family for free, but no one frowned. For these wealthy bosses, a mere few million is nothing. As long as they can please the Sun family, it is worth it even if they throw in more money. Jiang Yi looked at the auction list. He had no interest in the items at the front and simply dozed off in his chair. Ding ding. Dong Fangmai's cell phone suddenly rang. After taking a look at the number, Dong Fangmai did not answer the call, but got up and left the auction venue. At this time, outside, more than a dozen billionaire luxury cars were parked in front of the hotel. Dozens of professionally trained bodyguards got out of the car, some of them were even international boxers, but they still stood by obediently. A moment later, an old man got out of the car. The old man held a cane in his hand, his eyes were sharp, and his whole body exuded suffocating majesty. Seeing Dong Fangmai coming out of the hotel, the old man hurried over, with a respectful look on his face. "Miss. Who asked you to come?" Dong Fangmai looked displeased. "This is the master's order." The old man hurriedly said, "The master heard that you were in trouble in Jiangcheng, so he asked me to bring people here to protect your safety, young lady. After that, the old man continued, Miss, please rest assured. Even if I have to dig up the ground in Jiangcheng 3 feet deep, I will find those killers. I will never allow anyone who threatens you to exist. With the power of the Dongfang family, let alone Jiangcheng, even digging 3 feet deep in most of China would be effortless. Take these people back to the capital. I can handle my own affairs. Dongfang Mai said calmly. Miss. The old man looked helpless. Go back and tell my dad that I'm safe, said Dongfang Mai. Yes. The old man could only respond. Also, don't let me see anyone from the Dongfang family in Jiangcheng again. I don't like people following me. Dongfang Mai looked at the old man. The old man nodded quickly. Afterwards, the old man said hello to Dongfang Mai and left with his men. The old man didn't go far. It is his duty to protect the beauty of the East. Dongfang Mai glanced around and saw that no one noticed, then turned back to the auction floor. Dongfang Mai returned to her chair and saw Jiang Yi dozing off with his eyes closed. She showed a hint of self-mockery on her face and whispered, It's only been a few years, and you've forgotten me. You still can't recognize me. What did you say? Jiang Yi stretched lazily. Dongfang Mai was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect Jiang Yi to wake up. A few years ago, I was being chased and almost died. Someone saved me and took advantage of me. I always wanted to settle the score with her, but she hid herself and married another woman. Dongfang Mai took a deep breath. Jiang Yi said, Oh. Seeing Jiang Yi's attitude, Dongfang Mai showed a trace of helplessness on her face, but it disappeared in an instant. When Dongfang Mai looked at Jiang Yi again, Jiang Yi closed his eyes and began to doze off again. Dongfang Mai let out a breath, picked up the teacup and started drinking tea, turning her head from time to time to look at Yanran. Yanran also noticed it, but she nodded and smiled, with a hint of bitterness in her smile. An hour later, more than 50 items from the Sun family were auctioned, and all of them were sold at sky-high prices. Chapter 18 Shooting Yourself in the Foot. Liu Qianyu did not buy any items, but just deliberately raised the price each time, hoping to attract Sun Jun's attention in this way. Liu Qianyu's trick is very effective. Sun Jun did notice Liu Qianyu. However, Sun Jun ignored Liu Qianyu. There are countless people who want to please the Sun family, and Liu Qianyu's use of this method will only make Sun Jun feel disgusted. The next auction item, the Immortality Jade. Li Jun said loudly, the starting price is 100,000. In the eyes of everyone, this piece of longevity jade is the most worthless item since the auction. But there are still people who stand up to bid. Liu Qianyu is the first one. 500,000. After Liu Qianyu finished shouting out the price, he did not forget to nod and smile at Sun Jun. Sun Jun simply ignored Liu Qianyu. After Liu Qianyu shouted out 500,000, everyone gave up. Everyone present wanted to please the Sun family, but they didn't want to spend so much money to buy something worthless. In the eyes of these people, this piece of longevity jade is worthless. 600,000. A voice sounded. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, their eyes full of ridicule. The person who bid the price was none other than Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi, you are pauper, yet you dare to bid. Liu Qianyu looked at Jiang Yi and laughed. Whether I have money or not is none of your business. Jiang Yi said calmly. It has nothing to do with me. Liu Qianyu's face showed a hint of gloom, he sneered and continued to bid, 1 million. Liu Qianyu planned to beat Jiang Yi to death. Jiang Yi continued bidding. This time Jiang Yi came for the Immortality Jade, so he naturally wouldn't let it go easily. Liu Qianyu continued to raise the price. Jiang Yi did not show any weakness. In less than 3 minutes, Liu Qianyu raised the bid to 20 million. Liu Qianyu planned to give up immediately after Jiang Yi made an offer. Jiang Yi raised the corner of his mouth. I guessed what Liu Qianyu was thinking. Jiang Yi has no shortage of money. The 100 million yuan given by the head of the Chen family is still in the card and has not been touched. Liu Qianyu was so arrogant that Jiang Yi planned to teach him a lesson. I give up. Jiang Yi said with a slight smile. As soon as these words came out, Liu Qianyu was stunned. Congratulations, now this piece of longevity jade is yours. Li Jun looked at Liu Qianyu. Thank you Mr. Li. Liu Qianyu forced a smile. Liu Qianyu was full of anger but didn't dare to vent it. He originally wanted to plot against Jiang Yi, but ended up shooting himself in the foot. Liu Qianyu didn't bring so much money this time, so he could only secretly run outside to call his father for money. The call went through. Liu Qianyu recounted what had happened. "You bastard, you spent so much money and ended up buying such a broken jade. Do you think you can please the Sun family by doing this? This is really stupid." The head of the Liu family on the other end of the phone was so angry that he started cursing. Despite the scolding, the head of the Liu family still asked his secretary to transfer the money to Liu Qianyu. After getting the money, Liu Qianyu returned to the auction hall and sat down on the chair as if nothing had happened. Just now everyone looked at Jiang Yi as if he were a fool. Now, everyone looked at Liu Qianyu. Everyone present was a smart person, and they all understood one thing: while it was okay to spend money to please the Sun family, there had to be a limit. To please the Sun family is not as simple as spending money. The auction continues. The next auction item had a very low bid and was very ordinary, so no one was willing to bid. Jiang Yi had a keen eye for gold and bought for 5 pieces at once. These items may look ordinary, but they are actually the most valuable of all. Jiang Yi only spent 2 million to take pictures of them all. "If I sell it, I'll make at least several hundred million." The auction ended and people left the venue one after another. Jiang Yi also planned to leave. As a result, as soon as he arrived at the entrance of the auction house, he was stopped by Liu Qianyu. "Jiang Yi, you are so bold as to plot against me." Liu Qianyu stared at Jiang Yi angrily. Liu Qianyu felt that he had paid a high price for a piece of broken jade, and was very angry, so he deliberately made trouble for Jiang Yi. At the same time, he wanted to save his face in front of Yanran. "How ridiculous!" Jiang Yi sneered, "Since you know that the immortality jade is not worth much, why did you bid against me? You wanted to punish me, but you shot yourself in the foot, and now you are blaming me. You are the young master of the Liu family, how shameless you are." As soon as these words were spoken, many people around laughed. Liu Qianyu was so angry that his face turned green. This incident was a great shame for him. At this moment, Li Jun walked out, glanced at everyone, and then his eyes fell on Liu Qianyu. Liu Qianyu thought Li Jun came to see him on purpose and was very excited. "Mr. Li, I have always admired you. If you don't mind, I can book a hotel and we can go out for a drink together," Liu Qianyu said to Li Jun with a nod and a bow. "No need to drink." Lin Jun's sharp eyes fell on Liu Qianyu. "Mr. Jiang was the first to see the immortality jade. I decided to give it to Mr. Jiang. Do you have any objection?" Liu Qianyu was stunned. Everyone was also stunned. Lin Jun didn't wait for Liu Qianyu to speak and handed the immortality jade directly to Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi didn't hesitate and took it away. Liu Qianyu came to his senses, and the muscles on his face twitched with anger. But he had no choice. If he disagreed, it would be tantamount to going against the Sun family. Even if Liu Qianyu had great courage, he would not dare to offend the Sun family. Liu Qianyu was like a mute-eating Coptus chinensis, unable to express his pain. 20 million was thrown away, and the jade of immortality was also stolen. While being angry, Liu Qianyu didn't understand why the Sun family would help Jiang Yi and why Lin Jun was so polite to Jiang Yi. Everyone knows that Lin Jun is the heir to the Sun family. And Jiang Yi is nothing. The onlookers couldn't figure out what was going on. Yanran, who was not far away, frowned and thought, "Is this still the same Jiang Yi?" Whether it was the Chen family or the Sun family, they were all respectful to Jiang Yi. If Yanran hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have believed it was true. "Thank you. I'm leaving now." After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he prepared to leave with Dongfang Mai. Sun Jun called the hotel staff and drove Jiang Yi there. Jiang Yi got into the car without any hesitation and drove away, leaving everyone dumbfounded. After Sun Jun also left, Liu Qianyu changed his previous expression and sneered, "Jiang Yi is a loser who relies on women for a living. There must be some misunderstanding about this matter." Liu Qianyu didn't believe this was true, so he made up this reason. The onlookers also thought that a waste abandoned by the Yi family could not have much ability, and agreed with Liu Qianyu's statement. Yanran was very disappointed. After saying hello to Liu Qianyu, he and Yi Xiefeng left the hotel. After Jiang Yi returned to the villa, he placed the items he had bought on the coffee table in the hall. "These things are of no use now. It will be of great use in the future. You bought so much junk in one go just to piss off your ex-wife. I feel so sorry for you. Dongfang Mai said with interest. Jiang Yi was just about to speak when the alarm outside the villa suddenly rang. Jiang Yi's eyes suddenly became sharp. After standing up, he strode outside. Chapter 19, Relapse. Jiang Yi glanced around the yard and didn't find anyone breaking into the villa. Jiang Yi felt a little confused. After turning on the mobile phone surveillance camera, Jiang Yi discovered that it was a stray cat that jumped into the villa from outside the wall. To prevent this from happening again, Jiang Yi reinstalled the alarm. Dongfang Mai walked out of the hall, looked at Jiang Yi's profile, and her eyes gradually became gentle. At this time, in the lobby of the Chen family villa in Leju City, members of the Chen family are reporting the auction to the head of the Chen family. Upon hearing that the auction had ended successfully without any problems, the head of the Chen family showed a relieved expression on his face. Kuan-er didn't let me down this time. He finally lived up to my hard work. The head of the Chen family took a deep breath and looked very happy. The Chen family members looked as if they wanted to say something but hesitated. Is there anything else you haven't told me? Asked the head of the Chen family. The Chen family members began to hesitate. What's the matter? Tell me now and don't hesitate. A trace of anger flashed across the face of the head of the Chen family. Seeing this, the Chen family members dared not hide it anymore and told everyone about Chen Kuan helping Liu Qianyu. After hearing this, the head of the Chen family was so angry that he threw the teacup in his hand onto the table, spilling the tea all over the table. This bastard is more likely to cause trouble than to help. If Master Jiang knew about this, he would definitely offend him. Doing such a thing for a mere Liu Qianyu is simply stupid. The head of the Chen family was very angry. When the Chen family members saw how angry the head of the Chen family was, they were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe. Just at this moment, Chen Kuan walked in from outside the door. After leaving the auction, Chen Kuan drove directly home, ready to tell the head of the Chen family about the auction. He thought to himself that this auction was a complete success and his father would definitely praise him. Dad, I'm back. Chen Kuan greeted the head of the Chen family with a smile. The head of the Chen family looked angry and said nothing. Dad, who provoked you? Tell me and I'll teach him a lesson to vent your anger. There were no mistakes at this auction, and the Jiang family is very satisfied with it. Chen Kuan said proudly. You bastard, you still have the nerve to say that. The head of the Chen family cursed angrily, you are simply hopeless. You knew the grudge between Master Jiang and Liu Qianyu, but you still secretly helped Liu Qianyu. Did you get kicked in the head by a donkey? Upon hearing this, Chen Kuan said nonchalantly, after all this time, it turns out you are angry about this matter. Liu Qianyu used to be my follower and we have a good relationship, so of course I have to help him. As for Jiang Yi, my grandfather's illness has been cured, so there is no need to bother with him at all. The patriarch of the Chen family was very angry about this. Seeing that the patriarch of the Chen family did not speak, Chen Kuan thought that the patriarch had heard him, and continued, Jiang Yi has no power or influence. For our Chen family, he has lost his value. Bang! Chen Kuan swung his hand and slapped Chen Kuan in the face. Just as the head of the Chen family was about to continue to teach Chen Kuan a lesson, a servant ran down from upstairs in panic and shouted, "Oh no, something happened to the old man." Upon hearing this, the head of the Chen family ignored Chen Kuan and hurriedly ran upstairs. When we arrived at the room, we saw the old man vomiting blood and fainting. What's going on? The head of the Chen family said to the servant angrily. The old man is craving for alcohol. He just secretly took 2 sips of wine, and the result? Said the servant with a pale face. The head of the Chen family looked extremely ugly. Before Jiang Yi left, he reminded Mr. Chen not to drink alcohol, otherwise his old illness would relapse. Mr. Chen had originally been cured, but now he's in trouble again. Chen Kuan also followed him into the room and was dumbfounded when he saw the old man's appearance. Go to Jiangcheng immediately and invite Master Jiang to treat the old man. If you can't invite Master Jiang, don't come back. The head of the Chen family shouted at Chen Kuan angrily. Chen Kuan looked helpless. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and go. The head of the Chen family was so angry that his whole body was shaking. This time, I definitely can't invite Master Jiang. Before at the auction, I helped Liu Qianyu, and Master Jiang already knows about this. Chen Kuan was helpless. You make your own mistakes, you have to fix them yourself. The head of the Chen family said angrily, if you can't invite Master Jiang to treat the old man, I will expel you from the Chen family. I don't want a stupid son like you who only causes trouble for me. The head of the Chen family directly gave Chen Kuan a death order. Things had come to this point, and Chen Kuan had no choice but to go back to Jiangcheng to ask Jiang Yi for help. Jiang Yi stayed in the villa, waiting for the killer from the killer organization to appear. 2 days have passed and there is still no wait. Jiang Yi did not give up. At noon, Jiang Yi went to the restaurant to prepare something to eat. When entering the restaurant, Jiang Yi was stunned. The dining table was filled with all kinds of delicacies from land and sea, including steak and red wine. Especially that bottle of red wine, which is worth more than 200,000 yuan. This table would cost at least 700,000 or 800,000 yuan. Dongfang Mai was sitting on a chair next to the dining table reading a magazine. When she saw Jiang Yi coming, she put down the magazine and said to Jiang Yi with a smile, I asked Jiangcheng's famous chef to cook these dishes. Come and try them and see how they taste. Jiang Yi has been hungry for a long time. Jiang Yi didn't hesitate and sat down on the chair. He picked up the chopsticks and took a bite. It tasted good. Dongfang Mai took a breath and frowned. The chefs in Jiangcheng are indeed not as good as those in Beijing. Their cooking skills are far behind. Dongfang Mai said somewhat disappointedly. Afterwards, Dongfang Mai tasted it casually and started drinking red wine. It was obvious that Dongfang Mai was very dissatisfied with the meals. Did you eat like this for every meal when you were in Beijing? Jiang Yi couldn't help but ask. Dongfang Mai nodded and said, we have the best chefs in China at home. They can cook a variety of delicious meals every day. I have eaten all their high-end dishes that can be named. Jiang Yi felt a little ashamed. This Dongfang Mai family is so rich. A meal costs nearly 1 million, which means 50 to 60 million a month. Oriental Major spends hundreds of millions on food. An average family will go bankrupt within a few years. When it comes to cooking, Jiang Yi has first-class cooking skills, combining healthiness and taste. No one can reach Jiang Yi's level. When he was still the son-in-law of the Yi family, all the meals were prepared by the nanny, and Jiang Yi had no ability to display his cooking skills. Can you cook? Dongfang Mai suddenly asked. Hearing this, Jiang Yi couldn't help but laugh in his heart. If you can't cook, no one will be able to cook. Since he had nothing to do, Jiang Yi decided to show off his skills. Chapter 20, Delicious Food. Wait 10 minutes. After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he went straight to the kitchen and started to show off his skills. Although he hasn't cooked for many years, Jiang Yi's cooking skills have not deteriorated at all. 10 minutes passed quickly. A pot of tonic soup is ready. Dongfang Mai was just about to laugh at Jiang Yi's joke. After Dongfang Mai arrived at the villa, she saw that the tableware in the kitchen had not been touched for several months and guessed that Jiang Yi could not cook at all. You should eat it yourself, I'm full. After Dongfang Mai finished speaking, she went straight to their hall. Jiang Yi didn't care. He smiled and opened the lid. For a moment, the fragrance filled the entire restaurant, attracting all the servants in the villa. They stood at the door, looking at the tonic soup on the table and swallowing their saliva. Jiang Yi drank half a bowl and felt pretty good. Don't waste it, drink it. Jiang Yi shouted to the servants. When the servants heard this, they rushed in from outside. No one can resist the aroma of the food made by Jiang Yi. The servants were almost drooling. Jiang Yi smiled slightly, left the restaurant and went to the yard to check the alarm and surveillance cameras. Dongfang Mai, who was sitting on the sofa reading a magazine, saw Jiang Yi leave. She quickly threw away the magazine, swallowed her saliva, and ran towards the restaurant. Arriving at the restaurant entrance, Dongfang Mai slowed down. Ahem. Dongfang Mai deliberately coughed twice. When the servants saw Dongfang Mai coming, they quickly put down the bowls in their hands, lowered their heads and dared not make a sound. It smells so good. Dongfang Mai leaned over to smell it, and immediately felt her taste buds jumping. Dongfang Mai didn't care about her image anymore. She couldn't wait to pick up the spoon and take a sip. An expression of enjoyment immediately appeared on her face. She had eaten countless delicacies from land and sea since she was a child, but this was the first time she had tasted such delicious soup in her life. The servants around were almost drooling and swallowing their saliva secretly. "You guys get out," Dongfangmai said. "By the end of the month, I will give each of you a bonus of 100,000 yuan." Originally, the servants were reluctant. After all, they also wanted to try this delicious soup. However, when they heard that Dongfangmai would give each of them a bonus of 100,000 yuan at the end of the month, they all left the restaurant happily. After everyone left, Dongfangmai closed the door and started to enjoy the food alone. There wasn't much soup to begin with, and Jiang Yi and the two servants each drank half a bowl. Dongfangmai drank the last half bowl and then it was gone. Seeing Jiang Yi was about to come back, Dongfangmai hurriedly wiped her mouth and left the restaurant, returning to their hall to continue reading the magazine, as if nothing had happened. "I heard from several servants that the soup you make is delicious. Sell me the recipe and I'll pay you any price." Dongfangmai looked at Jiang Yi. "It can't be sold," Jiang Yi said with a smile. "Why?" Dongfangmai asked hurriedly. Their half bowl of the tonic soup just now aroused Dongfangmai's appetite. "I am still unsatisfied and my taste buds are still immersed in the irresistible deliciousness. There is no recipe for this soup," Jiang Yi said. "Only the ones I made myself have that taste." Dongfangmai was filled with disappointment, but it did not show on her face. After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he took out his mobile phone and checked the surveillance camera in the villa. "Make me another bowl this afternoon. I want to see how delicious your soup is." Dongfangmai deliberately pretended to be nonchalant. "Didn't you drink just now?" Jiang Yi suddenly looked up and said. Dongfangmai was stunned. "I installed surveillance cameras in all places except your room. I saw you fighting over soup with the servant just now." Jiang Yi held back his laughter. "I never thought that Oriental beauty has such a lovely side. The only drawback is that he is too face-conscious." There was a hint of embarrassment on Dongfangmai's face, but it disappeared in an instant. "You make me so embarrassed. If it were someone else, I would have destroyed him long ago." Dongfangmai stared at Jiang Yi. Suddenly, the doorbell of the villa gate rang. "Stay in the hall and don't go anywhere." After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he walked to the front door and opened it. I found that the person standing at the door was Chen Kuan. Chen Kuan had a big smile on his face. There were more than a dozen cars parked behind him. In the front was an extended version of Lincoln sedan. The lineup was even bigger than last time. "What are you doing here?" Jiang Yi said indifferently. The old man drank secretly and his old illness relapsed. "The situation is very serious. Dad asked me to ask you to save the old man." Chen Kuan's face was full of respect. "I don't have time, you can go back." Jiang Yi refused directly. Chen Kuan panicked and said hurriedly, "Master Jiang, I beg you, you must help me this time. My father said that if I can't invite you back, he will kick me out of the Chen family." I said, "I don't have time." Jiang Yi said impatiently. "Master Jiang, you must be angry with me because of Liu Qianyu. At the auction, I took Liu Qianyu out of the hotel and didn't teach him a lesson to vent your anger. I lied to you." After Chen Kuan finished speaking, he continued, "Master Jiang, I will go and kill that bastard Liu Qianyu right now to vent your anger." Jiang Yi ignored Chen Kuan and closed the door of the villa. "I have more important things to deal with and really don't have time to deal with Chen Kuan." The old man of the Chen family had a relapse of his old illness, but it was not fatal. "It won't be too late to go and treat Mr. Chen after I catch the people from the killer organization." After returning to their hall, Jiang Yi glanced around and found that there was no trace of Oriental beauty in their hall. After asking the servant, I found out that Dongfangmai had just left through the back door. "Damn it!" Jiang Yi cursed, and without thinking any more, he hurriedly chased after him through the back door. It is very dangerous for Dongfangmai to go out alone. If Dongfangmai lost her life, the killer organization would definitely not show up again and the clues would be completely cut off. At this time, outside the villa gate, Chen Kuan looked ashen. Now Chen Kuan is regretting it so much. He thought that Jiang Yi was unwilling to make a bid because he had offended Jiang Yi with the incident at the auction. "Young master, what should we do now?" asked the Chen family member behind him with a grim expression. "Stand at the door and wait until Master Jiang agrees." Chen Kuan took a deep breath. To show his sincerity, Chen Kuan stood respectfully at the door. The Chen family members could only stand there. Chen Kuan knew very well that if he couldn't invite Jiang Yi, he would be completely finished. The head of the Chen family is a man of his words, and he was definitely not joking when he said he would expel him from the Chen family. But Jiang Yi, as soon as he arrived on the street, saw Dongfang Mai got into a taxi and headed towards the commercial city. Jiang Yi stopped a car and followed. Just when the car was about to reach the commercial city, it suddenly made a sharp turn and drove towards the underground parking lot on the side. Jiang Yi followed to the underground parking lot and saw the taxi driver blocking Dongfang Mai's way. The taxi driver had a fierce look in his eyes and exuded a chill from his whole body. He looked like a professional killer. Jiang Yi was not in a hurry to show up. He planned to take this opportunity to teach Dongfang Mai a lesson so that she would not dare to sneak out of the villa in the future. "Miss Dongfang, I'm sorry." The taxi driver stared at Dongfang Mai, his arm trembled, and a sharp dagger slipped into his hand. Chapter 21 Master. "You can't kill me." There was no trace of panic on Dongfang Mai's face. The taxi driver was stunned. He didn't expect Dongfang Mai to be so calm in this situation. "Someone is paying to kill you. Once we take action, no one will survive." The taxi driver had a cold, murderous look on his face. "Yeah. Oriental beauty remains calm. In fact, Oriental beauty is all fake. She wanted to delay time." The taxi driver sneered, and the dagger in his hand went straight to Dongfang Mai's throat. This time, the taxi driver did not hesitate at all. Whoosh! A silver needle came flying through the air. It directly hit the acupuncture points on the taxi driver's back. Then, Jiang Yi walked over quickly and took out the poison from the taxi driver's mouth. What Jiang Yi needs is a living person. Suddenly, a cold light flew towards this side. The goal is Oriental beauty. In addition to the taxi driver, there are 4 or 5 killers hiding nearby. Jiang Yi grabbed Dongfang Mai's waist and dodged the attack. The other 4 killers didn't give Jiang Yi any chance to breathe and pounced on him directly. Jiang Yi fought 1 against 5 and did not lose the upper hand at all. In Jiang Yi's eyes, these killers are not worth mentioning at all. In less than 10 seconds, all 5 killers were lying on the ground, each with a look of surprise on their face. They had never expected that Jiang Yi would be so strong. They had carried out many assassination missions, but had never encountered such a difficult master to deal with. The 5 killers lay straight on the ground with blood oozing from their mouths. All 5 killers are dead. They had taken poison before taking action, in order to prevent Jiang Yi from capturing them alive. Unfortunately, they miscalculated. The taxi driver is still in Jiang Yi's hands. Jiang Yi did not rush to interrogate the taxi driver. He knocked him out with a silver needle and stuffed him into the trunk. Dongfang Mai stood there, looking at Jiang Yi with a hint of tenderness in her eyes. "Why did you leave the villa without permission?" Jiang Yi stared at Dongfang Mai. Jiang Yi was very angry. "I am not your prisoner. You have no right to control where I go." Dongfang Mai snorted and got into the taxi in her high heels. Jiang Yi was speechless. After getting in the car, I drove out of the parking lot. Just as Jiang Yi and Dongfang Mai left, an old man and a group of bodyguards walked out of the corridor. This old man was none other than the Dongfang family's butler. The old man glanced at the corpses on the ground and a hint of surprise appeared on his face. These assassins are all top-notch experts, but that guy managed to defeat them without any effort. His skills are truly amazing. The bodyguards also looked surprised. He is definitely not an ordinary person. The old man said confidently, "Call someone to check this guy's background. For the safety of the young lady, anyone who has come into contact with the young lady must be thoroughly checked. There can be no carelessness." "Yes." One of the bodyguards responded and immediately took out his cell phone to make a call. But Jiang Yi drove the car onto the street and parked it next to the street. "Get off." Jiang Yi turned his head and looked at Dongfang Mai. "Why are you getting off the car?" Dongfang Mai frowned. "Of course there is something wrong." Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows. When Dongfang Mai heard this, she hesitated for a moment, opened the car door and got out. Soon, Dongfang Mai realized something was wrong and reached out to open the car door. As a result, the car door was locked by Jiang Yi. "Our deal ends here." Jiang Yi said to Dongfang Mai, "I have already gotten what I wanted. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other." After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he drove away. The old man and his bodyguard in the parking lot hid very well, but they couldn't escape Jiang Yi's eyes. Jiang Yi had already discovered them. With so many people protecting Dongfang Mai was very safe, so Jiang Yi abandoned Dongfang Mai halfway. Jiang Yi didn't want to bother with Dongfang Mai. On their way back to the villa, we encountered a traffic jam. It was already evening when we returned to the villa. As soon as I got off the car, I saw Chen Kuan guarding the door, along with a large group of bodyguards. The weather was very hot, Chen Kuan looked tired, and his clothes were soaked with sweat. In order to invite Jiang Yi, Chen Kuan had no choice but to persevere. When Chen Kuan saw Jiang Yi coming back, he hurried over with a big smile on his face. "Master Jiang." Jiang Yi ignored Chen Kuan, opened the trunk, dragged the taxi driver out, and threw him into the yard of the villa. Chen Kuan wanted to follow in, but the door of the villa was closed by Jiang Yi. Chen Kuan looked helpless. "I can only continue to guard the door." After Jiang Yi woke up the taxi driver, he stared at him with a sharp look. "Tell me, where is your lair? I will spare your life." "Just kill me," the taxi driver said coldly. Jiang Yi frowned. This guy is very stubborn. It is not easy to get information about the killer organization from him. However, Jiang Yi has plenty of patience. "Can I help you?" A familiar voice sounded behind me. Jiang Yi looked back and felt speechless. The one who spoke was none other than Dongfang Mai. Dongfang Mai was wearing a sexy long dress, holding a glass of red wine in her hand, shaking it gently, and looking at Jiang Yi with interest. "It's not that easy to get rid of me. You don't need my protection at all, why are you following me?" Jiang Yi stared at Dongfang Mai. "I have no place to live, so I have to live with you." Dongfang Mai had a charming smile on her face that could make one's bones go weak. "Who made you so charming that people can't leave you? If it were someone else, they would have lost control long ago." Unfortunately, Dongfang Mai met Jiang Yi. "How about, let's make another deal? I'll help you find the killer organization, and you promise to let me stay here. How about that?" Dongfang Mai looked at Jiang Yi. "Okay." Jiang Yi agreed. As long as he finds the killer organization, he will leave Jiangcheng. "I don't want the villa myself. If Dongfang Mai wants to live here, let her live here. It doesn't matter if he gives it to Dongfang Mai. These are external possessions and Jiang Yi doesn't care." For Jiang Yi, the most important thing is to find the killer organization's lair, destroy it, and then find the mastermind behind the scenes. "We have a deal." Dongfang Mai finished speaking and walked over, her beautiful eyes falling on the taxi driver. "Tell me where your lair is, and I will ensure the safety of your family." Hearing this, the taxi driver showed a hesitant expression on his face. "You know very well that I am the eldest daughter of the Dongfang family. This matter is easy for me." Dongfang Mai said, "If you don't cooperate, not only will you lose your life, but your family will also die." The taxi driver's brows furrowed even more. "I have conditions." "If you agree, I can cooperate," said the taxi driver. "What are the conditions?" Dongfang Mai asked. Chapter 22 Visit in Person. "First, I will tell you my family's address, and you will find a way to send my family to the United States. Second, give me 10 million. With this money, my life will be guaranteed. After I'm done, I'll tell you the location of your organization's lair," said the taxi driver. "No problem." Dongfang Mai agreed immediately. After the taxi driver told her family's address, Dongfang Mai picked up her phone and made a call. "I have arranged for someone to do it, just wait for the news." Dongfang Mai smiled slightly, turned around and walked straight towards their hall. Jiang Yi threw the taxi driver into their warehouse in the yard and then returned to their hall. "How long will it take to accomplish this?" Jiang Yi looked at Dongfang Mai. "Have no idea." Dongfang Mai said, "That assassin organization is not stupid. After the taxi driver is caught, they will definitely take action. But don't worry, the person I arranged to do this will definitely be able to do it. As for how long it will take, no one can say for sure." Jiang Yi shrugged and went back to his room. At night, Jiang Yi turned on the surveillance camera on his mobile phone and found that Chen Kuan and the bodyguards had left at some point. Jiang Yi didn't care. The next morning, Jiang Yi and Dongfang Mai were having dinner in the restaurant when a servant ran in from outside with a panicked look on his face. "Mr. Jiang, there is a man outside who claims to be the head of the Chen family and wants to see you," the servant said hurriedly. Jiang Yi smiled slightly. Unexpectedly, even the head of the Chen family came in person. Please let him in, Jiang Yi said. Yes. The servant responded and turned to leave the restaurant. Jiang Yi put down his bowl and chopsticks and went to the hall. A moment later, the servant brought the head of the Chen family in from outside the hall. Also, there is Chen Kuan. Master Jiang, I'm really sorry to bother you again this time. The head of the Chen family said to Jiang Yi pleadingly, please help save the old man, Mr. Chen. Our Chen family will definitely reward you handsomely. I'm very busy now, let's talk about it in a few days, Jiang Yi said. The head of the Chen family looked helpless. Jiang Yi does have something very important to do. The head of the Chen family thought that Jiang Yi didn't want to take action, so he politely refused. Bang! The head of the Chen family turned around and slapped Chen Kuan in the face. You bastard, this is all your fault. Master Jiang has done a great favor to our Chen family. How could you help that bastard Liu Chenyu? Chen Kuan felt a burning pain on his face, but he didn't dare to say a word. Get out of here. From now on, I don't want to see you again. When I get back, I will announce that you are expelled from the Chen family. From now on, you are no longer a member of the Chen family. You don't have the qualifications. The head of the Chen family said to Chen Kuan disappointedly. Dad. Chen Kuan knelt on the ground with a pleading look on his face. Do you want me to do it myself? The head of the Chen family said in a deep voice. Chen Kuan's face was full of despair. Finally, Chen Kuan walked out of the hall in a daze. The head of the Chen family showed no mercy at all. Jiang Yi frowned slightly. If Chen Kuan was kicked out of the Chen family, who would help him build his power in Jiangcheng? Etc. Jiang Yi's eyes fell on Chen Kuan. You haven't finished what you promised me. When Chen Kuan heard this, a last glimmer of hope ignited in his heart, and he quickly looked at the head of the Chen family. We'll talk about expelling you from the family later. The head of the Chen family took a deep breath. Chen Kuan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the head of the Chen family agreed. Thank you, Master Jiang. Chen Kuan's face was full of gratitude. This time, Chen Kuan sincerely thanked Jiang Yi. At this moment, Chen Kuan no longer dared to be disrespectful to Jiang Yi. Master Jiang, don't worry, I will do my best to handle your matter, Chen Kuan said hurriedly. Jiang Yi nodded. The head of the Chen family was about to say goodbye to Jiang Yi and leave. He thought that Jiang Yi would not try to save Mr. Chen again. I do have something very important to deal with. Once I have dealt with it, I will go to the Ju city to rescue Mr. Chen. Jiang Yi took a sip of tea and spoke. The head of the Chen family was stunned for a moment. Then, I was overjoyed. Mr. Chen drank secretly, but the condition is not serious. I will prescribe a prescription for you. Take it home and make a bowl of it for Mr. Chen every day to stabilize his condition. After Jiang Yi finished speaking, he read out the prescription. The patriarch of the Chen family listened very carefully, afraid of missing a single word. After Jiang Yi finished reading the prescription, the head of the Chen family hurriedly took out paper and pen and wrote down the prescription. Thank you, Master Jiang. The head of the Chen family was filled with gratitude, and the stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. After expressing his gratitude profusely, the head of the Chen family took Chen Kuan away. Arriving at the gate of the villa, the head of the Chen family took a deep breath and said, the old man is finally saved. Dad, why don't I go and take care of Liu Chenyu right now? Chen Kuan said with a frown. No. The head of the Chen family said thoughtfully, we can't just interfere in the feud between Master Jiang and Liu Chenyu. Unless Master Jiang speaks up in person, we can't act rashly. After the Chen family patriarch finished speaking, he continued, with Master Jiang's ability, Liu Chenyu would have died countless times if he wanted to. There must be a reason why Master Jiang didn't kill Liu Chenyu. In a word, stay as far away from Liu Chenyu as possible in the future. Chen Kuan nodded in response. Afterwards, the two got in the car and left the villa. As soon as they left, a number of reporters came out of the woods nearby. Who exactly is this useless son-in-law that the Yi family abandoned? The head of the Chen family actually came to invite him personally. The eldest young master of the Chen family, Chen Kuan, has been guarding the gate of the villa for a whole day today. This is the first time that the eldest young master of the Chen family has been so humble. If this report were sent out, it would definitely make the headlines. A few hours later, the news that the head of the Chen family and Chen Kuan came to invite Jiang Yi spread throughout Jiangcheng. This incident made headlines and broke the record for number of views. Inside the Yi family villa, Yi Yanran, Yi Xiaofeng, Yi's father and Yi's mother were sitting in the living room watching TV. According to our news report, at 8 o'clock this morning, Chen Kuan, the young master of the Chen family, waited at the door for a full 10 hours in order to invite the useless son-in-law abandoned by the Yi family. The head of the Chen family will come to invite you personally at 7 o'clock tonight. Who on earth is this good-for-nothing son-in-law abandoned by the Yi family? How could he be so arrogant? I'm sure my friends in front of the TV have the same doubts as me. While reporting this incident, the reporter also included a video. In the video, Chen Kuan was standing at the door of the villa, sweating profusely. There is also a video of the head of the Chen family entering the villa. After reading the news, everyone in the Yi family couldn't sit still. Yi Yanran frowned. How come Jiang Yi knows the patriarch and the young master of the Chen family? These two people are big shots. Mother Yi's face was full of confusion. Chapter 23 Seduction. I remember that at the auction, Liu Chenyu was looking for trouble with Jiang Yi, but Chen Kuan came out to help Jiang Yi, and his attitude towards Jiang Yi was very respectful. Could it be that Jiang Yi is really a big shot? Yi Xiaofeng frowned. Yi Yanran didn't say anything. Father Yi said, I said at the beginning that Jiang Yi is not a waste, but none of you listened to me. Whether Jiang Yi is a big shot or not is hard to say, but one thing is certain, he knows the head of the Chen family and Chen Kuan, and they have a good relationship. If Jiang Yi is still the son-in-law of our Yi family, we won't have to worry about Yanran's company. These words woke up Yi's mother. After thinking for a moment, Yi's mother looked at Yi Yanran. Yanran, go find Jiang Yi and ask her to help you solve the company's problems. I don't have the face to look for him. Yi Yanran said. Yanran, at this time, is face more important or the company more important? If the company is gone, what will happen to our family, said Yi's mother. Yi Yanran didn't say anything and went straight back to her room. If you don't go, I will. After Yi's mother finished speaking, she shouted to Yi Xiaofeng, come with me to find Jiang Yi. Yi Xiaofeng responded, left the villa with his mother, and prepared to look for Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi was watching TV on the sofa in the living room of the villa at this time. Oriental Beauty is also in the lobby. Dongfang Mai was wearing a sexy pajamas, which highlighted her curvy body. She sat on the sofa next to Jiang Yi in a very seductive posture. Just this scene would make any man bleed from the nose. Jiang Yi seemed very calm. But I felt a little uncomfortable. This woman was clearly trying to seduce him on purpose. Tonight, people from the Yi family will definitely come to you for help. You are the only one who can help Miss Yi with her company's affairs. Dongfang Mai looked at Jiang Yi and said with a playful look on her face. Don't meddle in my business. Jiang Yi said. Then it's okay for me to watch the fun. Dongfang Mai looked charming. Jiang Yi was about to speak when a servant ran in from outside. Mr. Jiang, Madam Yi and young Master Yi are here and want to see you. Jiang Yi sneered in his heart, they really came. Let them in. Jiang Yi said. Yes. The servant responded and went out. A moment later, the servant brought Yi's mother and Yi Xiaofeng into their hall. When Yi Xiaofeng saw Dongfang Mai, his soul was bewitched. He staggered and almost fell to the ground. Seeing Yi Xiaofeng's look, Dongfang Mai burst out laughing. This smile immediately captured Yi Xiaofeng's soul. He stared at Dongfang Mai, unwilling to look away. When Yi's mother saw such a beautiful woman beside Jiang Yi, her expression became complicated. Jiang Yi, I heard that you know the head of the Chen family. Is this true? Yi's mother was very gentle towards Jiang Yi. This was the first time that Yi's mother spoke to Jiang Yi in this tone. In the past, when Yi's mother talked to Jiang Yi, she basically yelled and scolded him. I know him. Jiang Yi nodded. Very good. Mother Yi said happily, Yanran's company is saved. The Chen family is the overlord of the business community in Jiang province. The Chen family can solve the problems of Yanran's company with just a flick of their fingers. Jiang Yi didn't say anything. Seeing this, Mother Yi did not look unhappy. She smiled and continued, Jiang Yi, we kicked you out of the Yi family in the first place to help you. Only in this way can we stimulate your potential. In fact, I have always regarded you as my son-in-law. I have long regarded you as my half-son. Jiang Yi sneered in his heart. My mother-in-law is really amazing and eloquent. I guess even she herself doesn't believe what she just said. Brother-in-law, I have done a lot of things that have let you down in the past. I apologize to you now. Yi Xiaofeng said sincerely. Yi Feng simply changed his words and called Jiang Yi brother-in-law. Jiang Yi sneered again. Yi Xiaofeng is too good at pretending. Like Yi's mother, he is a master of acting. They came to Jiang Yi because of Yi Yanran's company matters. Once Yi Yanran's company's issues are resolved, they will definitely change their attitude immediately. Jiang Yi knew their personalities very well. Jiang Yi, if you can help Yanran solve the company's problems, I will persuade Yanran to remarry you. Yi's mother said. There's no need to remarry. Jiang Yi looked at Yi's mother and said, as long as Yanran asks, I can help. Okay, then I'll go back and persuade Yanran. Yi's mother smiled at Jiang Yi and then left the villa. Yi Xiaofeng secretly glanced at Dongfang Mai, then reluctantly followed Yi's mother. Yi's mother's attitude towards Jiang Yi is completely different from before. Jiang Yi took a deep breath. It seemed that he still couldn't forget Yi Yanran. But when Yi's mother returned home, she called Yi Yanran to their hall and said, Yanran, it's done. Tomorrow you dress up nicely and go see Jiang Yi and ask him for help. He said that as long as you ask, he will help you. Yi Yanran didn't say anything. Yanran, if no one helps, your company will be finished. What will happen to our family then? Yi's mother advised. I'll go. Yi Yanran took a deep breath. For the sake of the company, she had no choice but to compromise. She took the initiative to divorce Jiang Yi and kicked him out of the house, but now she is asking Jiang Yi for help. But for the company, I had no choice but to go to Jiang Yi shamelessly. Seeing Yi Yanran agreed, Yi's mother smiled and said, Yanran, although Jiang Yi has nothing, he has connections and a good relationship with the Chen family. If you want to remarry him, I support you. Yi's mother is very calculating. Once Yi Yanran remarries Jiang Yi, the Chen family will become the Yi family's backer. With this backer, the Yi family will naturally be able to obtain countless benefits. No matter what Yi's mother does, her purpose is always to make a profit. In the past, Yi's mother disliked Jiang Yi, but now she wants Jiang Yi to become her son-in-law again. Yi Yanran knew what Yi's mother was thinking. She had mixed feelings in her heart and didn't know what to say. The next day, after Yi Yanran got up and dressed, she drove to find Jiang Yi. When she arrived at the door of the villa, Yi Yanran still didn't have the courage to press the doorbell. Suddenly, the door of the villa opened and a servant walked out of the villa. Miss, who are you looking for? Asked the servant. Yi Yanran hesitated for a long time before she spoke. I'll find Jiang Yi, and tell him that my name is Yi Yanran. Please wait a moment, I'll talk to Mr. Jiang. The servant said, and turned back to the villa. These servants were hired after Dongfang Mai arrived, so they didn't know Yi Yanran. At this time, Jiang Yi was sitting on the sofa in the hall, playing with his mobile phone out of boredom. The servant came in and told Jiang Yi that Yi Yanran was here. Jiang Yi was stunned for a moment. Jiang Yi didn't expect that Yi Yanran would come in person. Chapter 24 Class Reunion. Please let her in. Jiang Yi said. Yes. The servant responded and invited Yi Yanran in. After arriving at the hall, Yi Yanran's eyes fell on Jiang Yi. Just as she was about to speak, Dongfang Mai walked out of the room. This room used to be Jiang Yi and Yi Yanran's room. Now it is dominated by Oriental beauty. Yi Yanran thought Jiang Yi was already together with Dongfang Mai, and she felt a little upset, but she did not show it on her face and seemed very calm. I came to you this time to ask for your help. Yi Yanran told Jiang Yi about the troubles the company had encountered. No problem, go back and wait for news. Jiang Yi looked at Yi Yanran and said, I will leave Jiangcheng after I finish the things in my hands. As husband and wife, I will do my best to help you. Yi Yanran frowned slightly. She felt that Jiang Yi was like a different person now. He spoke and acted decisively, unlike before when he was timid and submissive. Especially Jiang Yi's broad-mindedness, which most people don't have. If it were someone else, they would not help me at all, but would humiliate me instead. Do you have anything else to do? Jiang Yi asked. Yi Yanran came back to her senses after hearing Jiang Yi's voice. No more. Yanran said to Jiang Yi politely, "Thank you." Then, Yanran turned and walked out of the villa. Jiang Yi looked at Yanran's back and took a deep breath. From now on, perhaps he and Yanran would never meet again. The reason why Jiang Yi agreed to help was that he wanted to see Yanran for the last time. This relationship is completely over. Now, Jiang Yi feels much more relaxed and no longer has the same feeling of depression as before. After taking out his cell phone, Jiang Yi called the head of the Chen family. After Jiang Yi explained what happened, the head of the Chen family immediately agreed to help. As soon as Yanran returned home, she received a call from the head of the Chen family himself. The head of the Chen family said that he would ask the general manager of the Chen Group branch to find Yanran to discuss cooperation tomorrow, and would also invest 1 billion yuan in Yanran's company. Yanran stood there in a daze. Her heart was filled with shock. She didn't expect that Jiang Yi would get things done so quickly, and the head of the Chen family even called her personally. "Yanran, did Jiang Yi agree to help?" Yi's mother asked. "Jiang Yi has finished helping." Yanran recounted what had happened. After hearing this, everyone in the Yi family couldn't sit still anymore. Mother Yi was surprised and said, "I didn't expect Jiang Yi to have such a good relationship with the Chen family. He could handle such a big thing with just one phone call." Although the company that cooperates with Yanran is only a branch of the Chen family, it is dozens of times more powerful than Liu Chen US company. And there is also an investment of 1 billion yuan. This is simply a huge surprise. Yi's mother seemed very excited. Yi's father and Yi Xiaofeng's faces were also filled with excitement. Cooperating with Chen's branch is a very face-saving thing, and the other benefits are too numerous to count. The problem was solved, but Yanran couldn't be happy. "Old woman, I was right at the beginning. Jiang Yi is much better than Liu Chenyu, but no one believes me." Father Yi sighed. "If I knew Jiang Yi was capable of this, I would never let him divorce Yanran." Mother Yi said, "But it doesn't matter. I will go find Jiang Yi tomorrow and ask him to remarry Yanran. He likes Yanran very much. As long as I ask, he will definitely come running to find Yanran to remarry." "Mom, don't you think I'm embarrassing?" Yanran was very angry. "I'm doing this for your own good," said Yi's mother. Yanran was so angry that she ignored Yi's mother and went straight back to her room. But Jiang Yi suddenly received a call when he was buying a car. This call was from the university instructor. The instructor told Jiang Yi that there would be a dinner at the Royal Hotel in the evening and that all the classmates would go, including Yanran. On the surface it is a dinner party, but in reality it is a place to compete with each other. Jiang Yi studied economic management. People who study this major all want to start a company after graduation. After graduation, all the classmates in the class started their own companies or factories, and all of them became big bosses. The only one who has no company is Jiang Yi, and he married into the Yi family as a son-in-law. After graduation, Jiang Yi was laughed at by his classmates at every reunion. Even the instructor spoke with sarcasm, thinking that Jiang Yi was the most cowardly and useless student he had ever taught in his life. Jiang Yi tolerated it before so that he could continue to be with Yanran. Now divorced, Jiang Yi doesn't care so much anymore. "You must go to the class reunion." Many students arrived at the entrance of the Royal Hotel half an hour in advance, wearing famous brands, driving sports cars, and looking more showy than the other. "Yanran is here too." As soon as Yanran got off the car, many people surrounded her. Back then, Yanran was the school belle. Just like before, Yanran was very popular among these classmates. "Yanran, you are becoming more and more beautiful now." A sexy woman in a pink dress came over, took Yanran's arm, and said with a smile, "I heard that you kicked Jiang Yi out of the Yi family, is it true?" Yanran didn't want to mention this matter. This woman's name is Xiamai, and she was Yanran's best friend in college. Xiamai married into a wealthy family and founded her own company. Among many of her classmates, she is considered very successful and has basically reached the peak of her life. In the past, Jiang Yi was Yanran's husband, and these classmates did not go too far for Yanran's sake. Now that Jiang Yi and Yanran are divorced, many people have become unscrupulous and directly treat Jiang Yi as a joke. They basically all opened companies in other cities and had no idea that the head of the Chen family had personally come to invite Jiang Yi. They still regarded Jiang Yi as a good-for-nothing who relied on women for a living. Yanran was very upset and didn't say a word. Who are Siamai chattered non-stop. Passengers getting on the bus, please pull on and hold on. Next stop, Baiyun Road, passengers getting off, please get ready. A bus stopped at the bus stop ahead. Everyone's eyes turned to the bus. They gather at this hotel every year, and every year Jiang Yi gets off the bus on time at this time. Sure enough, after the bus door opened, Jiang Yi got off the bus. Everyone burst into laughter. Jiang Yi was the only one in the class who took the bus. Others who came to the class reunion all drove luxury cars. A man in a suit stared at Jiang Yi and laughed. Jiang Yi, our class is the best class in the history of the school. All 56 students in the class have opened companies or factories after graduation. Only you can't even open a grocery store. After so many years, you are almost a beggar. This man was Jiang Yi's love rival in college. His name was Xu Hui. Xu Hui liked Yanran, but Yanran ended up marrying Jiang Yi. This incident has always bothered Xu Hui. Even after so many years, Xu Hui still holds a grudge. Chapter 25 Seeking Death. Xu Hui was deliberately humiliating Jiang Yi. The purpose is to let Yanran know that choosing Jiang Yi was a huge mistake, and that only choosing him is the right choice. You all think you're great because you have your own companies and factories, but let me ask you, how many of you dare to say that your companies were not started by your parents? Jiang Yi sneered. Everyone was suddenly speechless. Especially Xu Hui. Everyone knows that Xu Hui is the vice chairman of Xu Group, but he does not achieve this by himself. Jiang Yi, even if we didn't achieve our current success on our own, we are still better than you. Xu Hui sneered, since you were kicked out of the Yi family, you have been nothing. You have no identity, no status, and you are a pauper. You are also the biggest joke in Jiangcheng. The fact that Jiang Yi was kicked out of the Yi family really made him a joke. Xu Hui, do you really have to make things difficult for me? Jiang Yi looked at Xu Hui. Considering that they were classmates back then, Jiang Yi plans to give Xu Hui a chance. But if Xu Hui insists on seeking his own death, I will not show mercy. Har har. Xu Hui raised his head and laughed. That's right, I just want to make things difficult for you. I just want to humiliate you. Go ahead and bite me. Xu Hui didn't take Jiang Yi seriously at all. The Xu family is one of the most prominent business families in Jiangcheng. The Xu family's strength in Jiangcheng's business community is much stronger than that of the Liu family. Even the Liu family has to be humble in front of the Xu family. Bang! Jiang Yi raised his hand and slapped Xu Hui. This slap stunned everyone. Even Yanran was stunned. No one expected that Jiang Yi would be so bold as to slap Xu Hui. They clearly remembered that every time they had a class reunion, Xu Hui would deliberately make trouble for Jiang Yi and give him a good beating. In order not to offend Xu Hui, Jiang Yi endured it every time. Especially last year, Xu Hui poured a bottle of wine over Jiang Yi's head, and Jiang Yi didn't say a word. Jiang Yi has completely changed now. You bastard, how dare you hit me? Xu Hui was furious. In the entire Jiangcheng, few people dared to take action against Xu Hui, and Jiang Yi was the first. Xu Hui felt like he had lost all his face. He was the young master of the Xu family, but he was slapped by a loser. It was the first time that Xu Hui felt so embarrassed. I must kill you today. Xu Hui pointed at Jiang Yi viciously, then ran to his Mercedes-Benz, opened the trunk, took out a baseball bat from it, and rushed directly towards Jiang Yi. Seeing that Xu Hui was completely enraged by Jiang Yi, everyone was afraid that they would be dragged into it, so they quickly stepped back. No one tried to dissuade Xu Hui, as everyone wanted to watch the show. Jiang Yi looked calm. If Xu Hui wants to die, I will help him. Just as the baseball bat was about to hit his face, Jiang Yi dodged it easily, then raised his leg and kicked Xu Hui away. After a long time, Xu Hui finally got up from the ground, enduring the severe pain, and continued to pounce on Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi kicked Xu Hui away again. At this time, Xu Hui had lost his previous glory and looked in a miserable state. No one among the onlookers dared to come over to stop the fight. I didn't expect Jiang Yi to get so ruthless that he even beat up Xu Hui. Jiang Yi is relieved now. Once Xu Hui calls the Xu family, Jiang Yi will be dead. Although Jiang Yi is very good at fighting, it's useless. The Xu family doesn't have to spend any effort to kill Jiang Yi. Everyone looked at Jiang Yi as if he were a dead person. Jiang Yi seemed very calm. After taking a look at his phone and seeing that it was getting late, Jiang Yi didn't want to bother with Xu Hui anymore, so he called Chen Kuan directly. Soon, the call was connected. Master Jiang, do you have any instructions? Chen Kuan said respectfully from the other end of the phone. Do you know the Xu family in Jiangcheng? Jiang Yi asked. I know. The Xu family is one of the largest families in Jiangcheng's business community, said Chen Kuan. Help me destroy the Xu family. Jiang Yi spoke directly. One of Jiang Yi's purposes for attending the class reunion this time was to teach Xu Hui a lesson. Jiang Yi planned to settle both new and old accounts with Xu Hui. Yes. Chen Kuan on the other end of the phone responded. The Xu family is a big family in Jiangcheng, but to the Chen family, the overlord of Jiang province, it is nothing. It is not difficult to deal with the Chen family. The rise of the Xu family damaged the interests of the Chen family in Jiangcheng, and the head of the Chen family had long wanted to destroy the Xu family. The destruction of the Xu family was a matter of course. However, Xu Hui failed to gain any advantage after attacking Jiang Yi many times, so he took out his cell phone and called his father, Boss Xu. Boss Xu had a son in his old age and he doted on Xu Hui very much. Xu Hui is Boss Xu's favorite. Upon hearing that someone dared to hit Xu Hui, Boss Xu was furious. He took a group of security guards and drove straight to the Royal Hotel. Half an hour later, Boss Xu arrived at the Royal Hotel. Seeing Boss Xu coming, Xu Hui hurried over and said to him with a face full of grievance, Dad, Jiang Yi treated me so cruelly, you must avenge me. Don't worry, son. I will kill that guy for you. Boss Xu said comfortingly. Then, Boss Xu glanced at the people around him and asked angrily, who called Jiang Yi? Get out here. If you dare to touch my son, I will make you regret it for the rest of your life. Jiang Yi sneered and walked out. You are Xu Hui's father, Boss Xu, right? Jiang Yi looked at Boss Xu and said, I was the one who beat Xu Hui. I beat him for no other reason than to teach him how to be a good man. This made Boss Xu very angry. He pointed at Jiang Yi and cursed, Who do you think you are? Does my son need you to teach him? You are not even worthy of carrying my son's shoes. After saying that, Boss Xu stared at Jiang Yi with murderous intent, You must die today. As soon as he finished speaking, the dozen or so bodyguards behind him took out electric batons from their waists and rushed straight towards Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi's eyes suddenly became sharp. He raised his leg and kicked the bodyguard who was rushing in front of him away. The people around looked at Jiang Yi as if he were a dead person. In their opinion, Jiang Yi would definitely die this time. Hua Xiaomai showed a gloating smile on her face. Jiang Yi is such an ignorant guy. He can't afford to offend the Xu family. He is clearly courting his own death. Hua Xiaomai showed disdain and sneer on her face. When she was still in school, Hua Xiaomai looked down on Jiang Yi. Now that he has graduated, Jiang Yi has no future, and Hua Xiaomai looks down on him even more. Yanran didn't say anything, her expression was complicated. Yanran, I still don't understand why you chose to marry someone like Jiang Yi. Hua Xiaomai said. Chapter 26 The Xu Family's Despair. Hua Xiaomai frowned and looked at Yanran, Now it's good, you are finally free. With your looks, you can find a man who is 10,000 times better than Jiang Yi. The other students around also started talking. Everyone felt that when Yanran married Jiang Yi, it was like putting flowers on cow dung. Jiang Yi will definitely not survive today, and no one will bother you anymore. Hua Xiaomai said with a smile. Yanran didn't say a word. When everyone looked at Jiang Yi again, they all lost their composure. I saw that the dozen or so bodyguards all fell to the ground, wailing non-stop. In less than 10 seconds, Jiang Yi solved all the problems. Boss Xu and Xu Hui and his son looked at each other and stood there in a daze. If you Xu family want to play, I will play with you. Jiang Yi looked at Boss Xu and Xu Hui with interest, raised his eyebrows, and spoke. You are quite arrogant. Boss Xu stared at Jiang Yi and sneered, I admit that you are good at fighting, but it's useless. After saying that, Boss Xu took out his cell phone and made a call. Bring people to the Royal Hotel immediately. Boss Xu shouted angrily. After finishing the call, Boss Xu continued to stare at Jiang Yi, I want to see how good you are at fighting. Boss Xu has connections in both the black and white worlds. Whenever he encounters a problem that he cannot solve, he will simply call for violence to resolve it. Jiang Yi couldn't help laughing. Boss Xu and Xu Hui are of the same character, neither of them is a good person. Suddenly, Boss Xu's cell phone rang. The call was from the secretary. After answering the phone, Boss Shu's face began to turn ugly. Dad. What's wrong? Xu Hui felt something was wrong and asked quickly. Mishu called just now and said that a company in Leju City cancelled its cooperation with Xu Group. Boss Shu said. How could this happen? Xu Hui frowned. This time, our Xu family will lose at least several hundred million. Boss Shu had a puzzled look on his face. This is so strange. This company has cooperated with our Xu family for more than 10 years. Now it suddenly cancels the cooperation. It is really puzzling. As soon as he finished speaking, the secretary called again. Boss, 7 or 8 companies have just called us one after another and want to cancel cooperation. I'm afraid the company is in big trouble. The secretary's helpless voice came from the other end of the phone. Boss Shu's face looked extremely ugly. He was a smart man and knew very well that some big shot must have targeted the Xu family and wanted to kill them. Soon, people from Xu Group called one after another. In just over 10 minutes, all the companies that had cooperated with the Xu Group cancelled their cooperation. This was a fatal blow to the Xu family. Dad, what's going on? Xu Hui asked Boss Shu with a puzzled look on his face. You ask me, who should I ask? Boss Shu said angrily, we have to deal with this guy quickly, and then go deal with the company's affairs. Suddenly, Boss Shu suddenly thought of something and asked Xu Hui, is this kid the useless son-in-law who was driven away by the Yi family? It's him? Xu Hui nodded. Yesterday's news reported that the head of the Chen family in Chen Kuan went to Jiangcheng to personally look for the son-in-law of the Yi family. Could it be that he was the one they were looking for? Boss Shu's expression began to become serious. Those news are all fake. Jiang Yi must have bribed the media and staged a show just to show off. Xu Hui said. Xu Hui didn't believe that Jiang Yi had such great ability. Boss Shu acted very cautiously. Although he didn't believe it was true, he still decided to find out. Did the head of the Chen family look for you yesterday? Boss Shu stared at Jiang Yi. The patriarch of the Chen family did come to see me. Jiang Yi raised his eyebrows and looked at Boss Shu. I just called the Chen family to ask them to help clean up your Xu family. You look so unhappy, it seems that the Chen family has already taken action. Boss Shu can hardly stand. He could tell that Jiang Yi didn't seem to be lying. He thought Jiang Yi was a soft persimmon, but he didn't expect him to be a tough nut to crack. This time he hit a wall. It seems that you have been wanting to take action against our Xu family for a long time. What happened today was a conspiracy designed by you. Boss Shu was not stupid and he understood it immediately. I'm not trying to plot against your Xu family. You Xu family are not qualified to be plotted against by me. Jiang Yi said calmly, you and your son deliberately made trouble for me. I had no choice but to attack your Xu family. These words made Boss Shu's lips twitch. Dad, don't listen to this kid's nonsense. This is a complete coincidence. He is a loser and there is no way he can be so capable. Xu Hui was unwilling to admit defeat. Get out of my way. Boss Shu roared. Boss Shu is a smart man and he doesn't believe it either, but the facts are there. Since this is just a misunderstanding, there's no need for you to kill them all so quickly. Just clear up the misunderstanding. Why bother to hurt each other? Boss Shu's tone began to soften. I don't want to kill you all, but you insist on seeking death. You can't blame me for this. Jiang Yi said with a smile. Boss Shu looked unhappy. Beep. Boss Shu's cell phone rang again. This time it wasn't the company calling. It's a call from Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce. When Boss Shu saw that it was the Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce calling, he immediately had a bad feeling. Boss Shu, we found that your company has big problems. After investigation, the Chamber of Commerce decided to seal up the Xu Group. In addition, all funds of your Chen family in the bank will be frozen. A cold voice came from the other end of the line. This incident was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue for Boss Shu. The Xu family is the overlord of Jiangcheng's business community. In the entire Jiang province, only the Chen family had such strength to completely wipe out the Xu family in less than an hour. Boss Shu's body swayed and he almost fell to the ground. Seeing this, Xu Hui hurried over to support Boss Shu. Dad, what should we do now? Once the Chamber of Commerce seals off the Xu Group, our Xu family will be completely finished. Par. Boss Shu raised his hand and slapped Xu Hui hard. Boss Shu used all his strength to deliver this slap. Boss Xu never dreamed that Jiang Yi, who was ridiculed as a waste by everyone, could bring ruin to the Xu family with just one sentence. The cause was just a small trouble caused by Xu Hui. You really don't want to give our Xu family a chance to survive. Boss Xu looked at Jiang Yi with a dejected look. It's not that I don't want to give your Xu family a chance to live, but you, the Xu family, chose the path to death. Jiang Yi said with a smile. Boss Xu took a deep breath. He was a smart man and knew very well that things had come to this point, and even if they knelt on the ground and begged Jiang Yi would not let them go. Boss Xu lost his balance and collapsed to the ground. The Xu family, which was known as the overlord of Jiangcheng's business world, was destroyed just like that. Chapter 27, I'm sorry for not being able to make it. Jiang Yi, we are classmates. Please spare our Xu family. Xu Hui said to Jiang Yi with a pleading look on his face. Xu Hui no longer had the arrogance he had before, and was like a dog that had lost its home. Jiang Yi ignored Xu Hui. Just at this moment, a convoy came rushing over. After the car door opened, Chen Kuan got out of the car. Afterwards, the leaders of the Chamber of Commerce also got off the bus one after another. After receiving Jiang Yi's call, Chen Kuan immediately warned the companies that had cooperated with the Xu family. He then went to the Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce to find the president of the Chamber of Commerce and brought people from the Chamber of Commerce to the Royal Hotel, fearing that the Xu father and son would hurt Jiang Yi. After what happened last time, Chen Kuan worked hard for Jiang Yi, fearing he would offend him. For Chen Kuan, dealing with the Xu family this time is a great opportunity to please Jiang Yi. Chen Kuan greeted Jiang Yi respectfully, then cast a sharp gaze on Boss Xu and Xu Hui, and said in a deep voice, "You are so bold that you dare to cause trouble for Master Jiang. You are courting death." Boss Xu and his son Xu Hui looked desperate. "Master Jiang, how should we deal with them?" Chen Kuan asked Jiang Yi. "Just figure it out yourself." Jiang Yi said. "Yes." Chen Kuan was busy. Afterwards, Chen Kuan glanced at Boss Xu and Xu Hui, and then asked the supervisory director of the Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce, "How many years can the Chen family father and son spend in prison for suspected commercial crimes?" 10 years at most. The supervisory director said hurriedly. "How can 10 years be enough? If we let them out, they will only bring harm to others. Let's find a way to make them serve 40 or 50 years in prison." "Is that a problem?" Chen Kuan asked. "No problem." The chief inspector nodded. The economic development of Jiangcheng lags behind other cities a little bit. The people in Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce don't have much money and have always been supported by the Chen family. If the Chen family asks someone from Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce to do something, the Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce will naturally agree. The entire staff of Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce are all from the Chen family. By the way, apart from the Chen father and son, the other members of the Chen family cannot be let off easily. "Get rid of all those who can be dealt with," said Chen Kuan. "I see." The supervisor nodded and said, "Our Chamber of Commerce will not let anyone who has any connection with the Chen family go." Hearing this, Chen Kuan nodded with satisfaction. Chen Kuan wants to kill all the Chen family. In order to please Jiang Yi, Chen Kuan took ruthless action. "Take the person away," Chen Kuan said. The chief inspector responded and had the Chen father and son dragged into the car and taken away. It looked like they were dragging a dead pig. "Master Jiang, is there anything else you need me to do?" Chen Kuan glanced at the people around him and said to Jiang Yi, "Master Jiang, if there is anyone you want to deal with, just tell me. I promise to make him regret coming into this world." Everyone was so frightened that they didn't even dare to breathe. Even the Xu family, the overlord of Jiangcheng, has ended up like this. It would be easier for Jiang Yi to kill them than to crush an ant. Especially Hua Xiaomai and the people who had just laughed at Jiang Yi, their hearts were in their throats at this moment. "You go and do your own thing. I don't have anything to do now," Jiang Yi said. "Yes." Chen Kuan responded and then drove away. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when Chen Kuan's car disappeared from sight. Everyone felt like they were dreaming about what had just happened. They never expected that the Chen family would personally help Jiang Yi deal with the Xu father and son, and that Chen Kuan was so respectful to Jiang Yi. In order to help Jiang Yi deal with the Xu father and son, the Jiangcheng Chamber of Commerce was directly mobilized. In Jiangcheng, no one has such a big face. Even a fool can see that the Chen family is trying to please Jiang Yi. Yanran was also shocked. Before, he didn't quite believe that the head of the Chen family would come to Jiangcheng to find Jiang Yi, but now the facts were before him. Is this still the same Jiang Yi? Yanran kept asking herself. Everyone asked themselves, this guy is not just a waste, he is the king of hell, whoever provokes him will be in trouble. Even if they had 10 times the courage, they would not dare to say a word disrespectful to Jiang Yi, for fear of ending up like the Shu family's father and son. Soon, everyone surrounded Jiang Yi and started to get close to him. Jiang Yi, you are so powerful that even the overlord of Jiang province, the Chen family, obeys your orders. When I first studied with Jiang Yi, I felt that Jiang Yi was not an ordinary person, and I was right. Jiang Yi is certainly not an ordinary person. Now in the whole Jiangcheng, who dares to go against Jiang Yi? Isn't that courting death? Everyone's tone was full of flattery. They just laughed at Jiang Yi, and now they all come to try to please Jiang Yi. Hua Xiaomai didn't dare to speak. She was the one who laughed at Jiang Yi the most just now. She didn't have the courage to talk to Jiang Yi, nor did she have the face to talk to him. Yanran, for the sake of our friendship, you have to help me if Jiang Yi causes trouble for me later. Hua Xiaomai was scared. She was afraid that Jiang Yi would punish her later. Yanran didn't say anything. She didn't know what to say. Yanran, please say something. Hua Xiaomai was anxious. She shook Yanran's arm and said, we have been best friends for so many years. You can't just stand by and watch her die. As soon as he finished speaking, a car drove towards this side. After the car door opened, the chancellor got out of the car. He was stunned to see that all the classmates, except Yanran and Hua Xiaomai, were trying to please Jiang Yi. What are you doing? The chancellor came over and said, I remember that every time we had a party in previous years, you all enjoyed making fun of Jiang Yi for being useless. How come you are acting like this now? Everyone looked embarrassed and didn't know how to explain. The chancellor was quite nice to Jiang Yi back then and always had high hopes for him. But after graduation, Jiang Yi married into the Yi family, which disappointed the chancellor to the extreme. The chancellor thought that Jiang Yi wanted to rely on women for a living and was a spineless person, so he completely ignored Jiang Yi from then on. Some people laughed at Jiang Yi, and the chancellor directly said that Jiang Yi asked for it. Jiang Yi, I was so optimistic about you at the beginning. I thought you would be able to make a career in the future, but I didn't expect you to choose to be a gigolo. After the chancellor finished speaking, he continued, you will never amount to anything in your life. The chancellor looked disappointed. I really disappointed you, chancellor. Jiang Yi said. You are such a hopeless case, the chancellor snorted. I heard that you were kicked out of the Yi family. You won't even have the chance to live off others in the future. If you don't work hard, you will be a useless person laughed at by everyone for the rest of your life. Jiang Yi smiled and said nothing. Seeing Jiang Yi still laughing, the chancellor was very angry. Chancellor, you misunderstood Jiang Yi. Hua Xiaomai, who had been silent the whole time, suddenly spoke up and said to the chancellor, Chancellor, you misunderstood Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi is the most capable person among all of us.